Alright, so at this point, I think we are ready to leave Eladin for the foreseeable future. There's a few more quests. Let's just double check what these are. That's just rocks. And that's for a relic, which technically is a relatively major quest, or at least a quest that has multiple components across multiple planets, I believe. So we will be back to do those things on some occasion, I'm sure. And there's probably more things we don't yet know about in this corner as well. But again, we've done a lot on Eladin now. So, we'll leave some things for a future occasion, and there may very well be other things that we don't yet know about here as well. So I think we'll head back to at least our ship, and we might try to pursue another arc. I guess we've found the Solarian arc. We made progress toward finding the Turian arc, but ran into an issue, an obstacle there, which now we need to check in with somebody on that, but I don't remember exactly where that person is. So I think we might just jump over to try to track down the Asari arc next and see if we can make any progress there. But we should head back to the Tempest first. Might have been some people in the outpost / New Jujanka that we wanted to speak to as well, but we'll talk to them later, right? Right?
All systems green.
Okay, let's check our emails. Not sure we're gonna get anything new here. No, I've seen all those things before. In that case...
You have AVP outstanding, Pathfinder.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure if activating the vaults gave us enough to get a new cryopod, but I mean, usually it does give us a lot. So we do have one more. We also have all these things. And at this point, it is certainly getting difficult to figure out what we should be spending these points on. Mining nodes, another one that, I mean, sure, if you get them at the very beginning, then maybe you can sort of make use out of them, but at this stage, much like with hidden caches, we'd have to go running around out of our way in all the likelihood to make much use out of this, and we also just don't really need much in the way of extra resources right now, so it's probably not going to be that impactful. And this, I assume, is the amount of time it takes for the respawn or the recharge on this stuff. Just also pretty insignificant. Same here. So I think I don't really care much about anything in that group. I mean, yes, 15% credits on a single Apex mission is not a lot, but the volume at which we were doing them would certainly start to add up quite a bit, especially if we got both of these. But as I was starting to say, I think that perhaps that's something we don't really want to be doing that much of in the future, because we've done so many of them that we may be getting to the point where resources, credits, don't matter much anymore, and that's maybe not a great place for us to be in, because that's, you would think, supposed to be one of the important aspects, one of the important components of the game. Better prices when buying and selling items? I mean, like, yeah, sure, I guess, kind of. We could just do this for quality of life. I mean, we've not really come close to maxing out our inventory space after increasing it previously, but at this point, everything, as we were saying, is pretty marginal. So, sure, why not? Just because I'm not really sure anything else is going to be that much better at this point. And for these missions, okay, turn one in there. And is that gold? That is gold. Okay, so let's prioritize this. Should have two teams that can do this because I saw high risk, high reward is something that we have a specialized team for, and weather as well. You're a little more well optimized for this, so let's send you. Then for the silver mission, we'll send a strike team. And for this one, sure, we'll send you. Okay. So, we've tiny bit of these? Sure. Oh, let's do them one at a time. Well, so, it looks kind of cool when you open it up that way. A little more dramatic. A little more obvious what you're getting from what. But that being said, we don't really need that. Not sure. I guess we'll sell it along with other things we may have picked up here. Are these actually new things? We'll take more shield capacitors, as always. That's probably the most important thing for us. And then we'll sell Crusader, Valkyrie. I think those were all things we picked up. We did get a new fusion mod that we've not yet checked from the most recent vault that we did. It might have been this. Might have been that, but I don't love that one. Might have been that, but I don't love that one. We saw this one before, and this one is definitely good, and we might consider that. We're going primarily on the tech side ourselves. Okay. This is mostly just augmentations, which are things that we may want to actually use in the future. And we did just increase our inventory size so that we don't need to be feeling as pressured to empty out our inventory quite as regularly, perhaps. But yeah, you know, while we're here, we'll dump a little bit. Oh, and let's also sell salvage. I didn't realize that stuff was going to show up there. Whoa. Okay, admittedly, I didn't see what the number was before I pressed the sell all salvage button, but we have, like, almost 10,000 credits worth of salvage, because that's pretty insane. And we got a lot of high-value salvage, so maybe that had something to do with it. In the most recent excursion out there. Dude, what does this do? Seeing similar tech another day. Is it a crafting item? A resource? Acquired by defeating remnant architects in the wild and interfacing with them, or by discovering them inside vaults. Alright, then we're getting to weapon mods, and I don't really want to go through that trouble right now, figuring out what we do and do not need to dump there. Okay, so yeah, I mean, at this point we have what? Tons of inventory space, so no worries. No worries, I don't think. Okay, so, actually, what level are we at this point? 47, we're getting a little closer to unlocking the next tier of stuffs, but still a little ways away, so that's not an urgent concern, nor do I think that even if we did reach that threshold, would it be a huge difference maker. One level doesn't make that much of a difference, but multiple levels, then it's probably worth considering. Okay, so. We are, I don't want to say done, but we've done the vast majority of things now on Eladin. Just a couple things we know of, and most of them are just confirmation on things that we've already done. Check in with Nexus officials at the at Paradise. Okay. And then I still don't know where Colt Dalton is. It's probably someone at the outpost, but I don't remember. So what I do want to see though is other arc-related things. We made progress on the... Oh! On the Tempest comm. Okay. We could do that right now, then. Let's do that right now. And maybe we can go further with the pursuing the Turian arc. Otherwise, I was gonna say we might shift gears over to the Asari, but that may not be necessary just yet. So I assume we can do that right up here.
Prepping VidCon communications.
Exactly. Perfect. Okay, now, especially given the background there, that does look like Havarl. This is the Turian Spectre dude that we saw in Havarl originally, right? Who was the first person that we learned of who was alive from the Turian arc, and basically told us that there's some hope, at least, in trying to seek them out. Pretty sure that's who this is.
Ryder, I was just about to call you.
Everything all right?
I've got numbers,
His
coordinates,
eyes.
flashing in my head. I think it's an SOS from Mason.
Okay. It's possible.
It could be coming from your salmon plant.
He's sending me his location.
We did find evidence that Natanis may be intact.
What evidence?
A bunch of stasis pods were jettisoned from the Ark. No survivors. But the logs show it happened long after Natanis hit the Scourge.
Someone's still flying the damn thing.
Yeah. That's true. Flying is maybe a strong word.
Or keeping it afloat, at least.
Here are the coordinates for my implant. Meet me there. We'll find answers.
Alright. Does look like we can continue to pursue the Turian arc then. So, as I said, that guy was previously on Havarl, the guy that we were just talking to. Whereas the most recent updates on the Turian arc were actually on Eladin. So does that mean the nav point is on Eladin, Havarl, or somewhere entirely different? Let's see. Okay, well, we activate this. Just where is that? You gonna tell us? Now, obviously, it's here somewhere. Is it on Eladin? Still at Architect stuff. Not seeing the name of the quest pop up here on the left side, so I'm assuming that it is elsewhere. Oh, right, I forgot. There are new systems that we've not even looked at all at this point. Oh, it's on the same... Ooh. So it's over here, in the same system, at least, as Vetra's loyalty mission is. Now, Vetra's loyalty mission is, of course, on the now broken asteroid planet. Used to be a planet, is now an asteroid, functionally, that we were at previously, and we've basically done everything outside of Vetra's loyalty mission, so we will, of course, do that sometime in the relatively near future. But is the Turian arc quest also going to be on that planet, / asteroid, in which case, do we do Vetra's mission along with that? I wasn't really planning on doing that right now, but I guess only one way to find out. We could, I suppose, still do the Turian arc mission and then still come back to do Vetra's stuff on a later occasion. Doesn't necessarily have to be a 2-for-1 type deal. But it might just be that the arc itself is somewhere else around here. So yeah, that's the planet / asteroid I was talking about, whereas looks like the arc is... What? Oh no, that's... Okay, I saw the H47C, which is right below the name for the Turian arc. I was like, is that a different planet that we didn't previously know about that the Turian arc is now orbiting around? But no. It's a coincidence that happens to be nearby, but let's see what the deal is.
Provided by Avitus.
Is it a trap? Surely not. Surely he wouldn't do that to us, right? Oh! That looks very promising. That looks an awful lot like an arc to me. Now, it is an asteroid field.
That's the Turian Ark. It's seen better days.
Incoming call.
Pathfinder, I think we're on the right track.
No
I think so
kidding.
too.
Is it safe to board?
Only one way to find out. I'll meet you inside.
Ooh, exciting. Okay, so yes, up to this point, we've had and this is technically a side quest mission, I guess you'd say. Well, I guess I was about to say we've only ever had loyalty missions and what, like 1 or 2 other exceptions for side quest missions that have given us planets / locations unique locations in which the mission takes place. And I was about to say that the Solarian Arc was one of those places, but technically that was main quest. So it's tied to the Archon mission, whereas that's probably going to be the most similar thing to what we are doing here, but this is not main quest. So let's see. Natanus, 20,000 pods, currently detecting 15,000 plus. That's not that bad. Now, granted, that doesn't say how many of those are still alive, but Tempest sensors show severe damage to all sections of the Turian Arc from exposure to the Scourge. Due to hull instability, moving the Natanus would be ill-advised, but it should be safe for a recovery team to extract the remaining stasis pods. Oh. I mean, it's smoking a little bit, but other than that, it's not like it's broken in half. Alright, let's do it. So, let's see. I think our weapons are still good here. Here, our armor's still good. Consumable's still good. Do we want to tailor our squad here a little bit? I feel like we should take Vetra. This is the Turian Arc, and she's, of course, our Turian squad mate. Now, Vetra, Drac, PB, I think we've established, generally speaking, are our preferred squad mates to bring with us, as they are the least susceptible to just immediately charging in and getting themselves killed. So, with that in mind, I think we went Drac, Vetra, and then PB, Drac. So maybe it's now PB, Vetra. We're trying to rotate amongst those three to the extent possible. Now, I assume there will be combat in this mission. Technically, all we know is that they kind of, sort of crashed. Not directly, but at least have gotten damage from being in close proximity with the Scourge. But does that mean that the Ket are here, or some other enemies? I don't know. There's no sign of that yet.
Limited power. Life support's busted. Surprised there's any gravity at all.
Are you okay? Also, how did you get here?
This can't be easy to see.
I'm not really a feelings type of guy, Ryder.
Even so.
Let's just find Mason. HO47C. It was supposed to be the Turian homeworld in Helios.
I guess that makes sense that they're
Like
close by
Habitat
then.
7.
Whoever was piloting the Ark wanted to get here, no matter the cost.
And I guess they were technically following the plan, but I guess ejecting some stasis pods, it's well intended. If those stasis pods did not make it, then I guess it's worth a shot. If you think the entire Ark is going to go down, then you might as well run for the lifeboats, metaphorically speaking. Even if, as we saw on Eldon, some of those got... How did they make it all the way from here to Eldon, which is on the opposite side of the system? I don't know. The cluster.
They wanted to find home.
It's not really a home if no one's left to live there. Come on. Speculating won't get us anywhere.
We're lucky this part of the Ark survived.
Looks can be deceiving, Pathfinder. The hull is barely holding together.
Thanks, Sam. Always a ray of sunshine.
Yeah.
I could provide analysis via the scanner, Pathfinder.
Okay, but first... I mean, technically... Are we stealing from the Turians? Or there is some gravity. Because we're down here on the ground, but... And why is this stuff floating? Also, you said you could give some analysis via the scanner? Sam? Can't help but feel like that was an empty promise? Cannot jump, for whatever that's worth. I'm not allowed. Oh, we can... Oh, I love it! We can actually move the stuff that's floating! Again, it technically makes zero sense that these things are experiencing 0 or close to 0 Gs, whereas we are perfectly fine on the ground here, unless we have, like, gravity boots or something. Which I don't think is the case. You know, like magnet boots. Okay, let's see. Captain Dia Prayton from Mason Barrow, the Pathfinder. That's the person we're looking for. Habitat 5 profile, which presumably was the planet that got... The one that's right nearby, the one that got destroyed and turned into more of an asteroid. Full report attached, but our new home's going to put Palvin to shame. I don't know about that. What did I tell you about sending me science stuff? Unless it's got charts and pictures, it's all gibberish to me. Okay. P.S. You and Rick's up for drinks after the goodbye party? Got a special bottle of Horosk. I don't want just anyone sampling. So did Rick's, who is the Spectre who's with us. Yeah, he was... What exactly was his story? Because was he on the Natanus, the Turian Ark, and then he somehow escaped? Did he crash land or escape via a pod onto Havarl? Or was he one of the people who came instead with the initial group along with the Nexus? And so he was sort of separate. No, he must have come with them, right? Okay. Let's see. And obviously they're talking to him as if he's with them right now. Now with more charts and pictures. As for drinks, we'll be there. You know how much Avi loves that beverage of some variety. Is that... We might have heard about that name with the previous Mass Effect game, in fact. Okay, so we can go through there, it would seem. Or at least attempt to. But, and we do have, we have 2 Turians now. Hold on. It's a little harder to tell. I think that's Vetra. And that's our Spectre pal. Okay. So, this we can scan.
Hey, this door's still got power.
I wouldn't open that, Pathfinder. It leads to space. Perhaps you could divert the power to a different door.
Okay. Gotcha. What about this? I mean, I assume it's the one that we were at on the other side, but that's not something we can interact with? Okay. Oh! What's this?
Power has been diverted, Pathfinder.
Okay. Oh, it's the long opening animation. We have a map? We do have a map. Okay. Well, we shall see. Falcon. I value Selch. Okay, now, some of the stuff we had butted in, we just kind of clipped through, but that stuff did eventually get thrown out. Okay, cryogenic stability update. From Rix, right here, to Natanus leadership. Just received confirmation. With the exception of the leadership and life support teams, all passengers have entered cryostasis and are sleeping soundly. Jacana is on her way up to you now to oversee the closure of your pods. If you haven't changed into your uniforms, do so now so we hit our departure time. Once everyone is asleep, I will do one final round, then join you in the abyss. Rix. Alright, so yes, definitely. Confirmation that he was absolutely, if there's any question, he was absolutely with these people on the Ark, then got separated again, must have been the escape pod of some variety. So no one tried to jump ship? Don't know if I'm impressed or nervous. Everyone's that confident in the mission. Don't stay up too late, Rix, or you'll be an old man by the time we reach Helios. True. More than an old man. The ancient history. And then this is from the Pathfinder to Rix. Avi. Okay, so and that's seemingly his nickname that a bunch of people keep on referring to him as. Jacana said it was fine if you oversaw my pod closure. I know I said I wouldn't go against procedure, but I want your face to be the last thing I see in the Milky Way. Oh. You can scold me while I enter cryo. See you soon, Mason. Alright, that almost sounds like they're significant others of sorts.
This one's still got juice.
Okay. Sure, if you insist that I scan it, but no, not really. Just do this.
Looks pretty busted. Think your Sam can get us in?
Excuse me, we're more than just the AI built into our body? We'll give it a shot, though.
Only one way to find out.
I found a log from Dea Praetor, the Ark's captain. The video is corrupt, but I can recover the audio.
Oh,
Play it.
please do.
Something's tearing the Tannis apart. Half the cryo chamber is gone, trying to get anyone awake to the escape pods. Spirits, there's no time. Find Mason.
Actually, we learned that the Ark still has 75%, more than 75% of its pods. So, no, you've not lost 50% of them. But, besides that, she did mention escape pods.
Dea was abandoning ship.
She wouldn't leave unless the situation was dire. Natanus didn't get here on its own. We need to know what happened next.
The rest of the data on this console is corrupt. Perhaps if we find another. Or the Ark's SAM node.
All right, let's keep looking.
I'm guessing more so the latter. Okay, did we check this? Yes. So that's where we came through. This is where we're trying to go. Explore the Natanus. That's all we know at the moment. That looks like that's unlocked, but this side is not. Or it is.
This one also needs power.
Or is not.
Maybe we can use the same trick as last time? Divert power from something else?
Or just use the other door instead.
Well, we're not going that way.
Oh. I mean, it gave us research data. Debris appears to have collapsed during the Ark's journey through Scourge. I mean, if we could, if we could flame her, we could maybe just burn through that real quick. We use this one once again to redirect the path. No, you're beeping at me like crazy. Also, there's that. It's a dead plant. It has been neglected. Yeah, I don't doubt that. Ah, here we go.
The door should now be operational, Pathfinder.
Okay, now we're looking for this one. Be the one we go through. So, still not sure if this is just going to be mostly puzzles and whatnot. And, you know, series of opening and closing doors and what have you. Or if we're actually going to run into enemies here. This is the biggest room in the Ark. So it is all ominous music and what have you. I mean, obviously, ominous situation for sure, but just what are we ultimately going to be asked to do here? Is, I guess, the primary question. Console's been offline for some time, presumably since the Ark hit the Scourge. May be able to go through there.
It's over here.
But is there anything else? Probably just gonna have to do this.
There's still life in this one.
Sam, how are we doing?
Mason, bring it back.
Working on it, but something's
The
wrong.
video's corrupted on this one, too.
What about audio?
Repairing now. 1 moment, please.
Alright, yeah, he's getting a little eager. He's getting a little antsy here.
We need to remain objective.
Yeah, I've never been objective when it comes to Mason.
Try, for his sake.
Playing audio now.
Sam, how far to Abby's pod?
300 meters.
An easy stroll then. Damn it. Maybe not so easy.
Where's the rest of it?
That is all I could recover.
Damn it.
So that starts to sound like the Ark was in critical condition, everything's breaking down, they could only rescue a certain number of pods, the Pathfinder, this Mason guy, along with the captain, are both awoken from cryosleep, and at least the Pathfinder is trying to specifically make sure that Avidus Rix here, the Spectre dude, gets awoken. Whether it's because they are very clearly buddy-buddy, or just because he's of particular importance, because he's a high-ranking operative, that much is yet to be known.
He was looking for your pod. Do you remember anything before waking up on Havarl?
I told you, my first memory was clawing out of my stasis pod.
Then we keep looking.
Yeah, and it does... I mean, I kind of said this before, but it does seem really odd. Not only that the Ark is on one side of the system, and then the Eladin, where the other pods we just found recently were on the exact opposite side of the system, but then in a totally separate location, a third and distinct location, is where Avidus popped up in his pod, which means that, I mean, there's no... I mean, again, like, how logical can we really be about this, when perhaps we should just be brushing this aside, but that would strongly imply that there was some other reason why he was sent somewhere else, and that would perhaps lead to, or explain why, if the Pathfinder was the one who basically separately sent him out to a certain location independently from the other people who tried to leave via escape pods.
That door leads to the SAM node. We've got to get in there.
Okay, but I am also going to try to push all this stuff around first. Can I push it one way and then turn around and push it the other way instead? Not really sure that's working. Pushed it this way. Can I push it? Then did you just kind of disappeared, didn't you? Okay. All right, enough for that. That obviously we will activate, but is there anything else? Mostly just doors. Mostly just doors. And that's where we came in through, I assume, right? Okay. Let's get you.
The SAM node should now be accessible.
Okay. Oh, I assume it was probably... Might have been worth checking to see if there's anything we could do through that door. It's probably another one of those. There was a bunch of debris here. We might have been able to scan it for research or something, but probably not a huge deal. Physics! Sam.
Sam, where's the Pathfinder? Where's Mason?
Avi. Commence. Stars.
What?
Avi. Isn't that what Mason called you?
He's the only one who calls me that.
My counterpart is suffering from severe trauma. If I partition the
Trauma?
damage, it may be able to speak with us.
Be careful. I don't want to lose this Sam because we rushed for answers.
Avitus Riggs. Welcome home.
Sam, Mason sent coordinates to this location. I need to find him.
You are mistaken. I send the coordinates.
Is this a trap? It's a trap! It's a little fishy.
What do you mean you sent the coordinates?
The Pathfinder ordered me to help Avitus find a home for the Turians. I located our destination, HO47C, then sought out Avitus.
Why would Mason do that?
It was his last request.
This thing's still busted. It doesn't know what it's talking about.
We should have access to Mason's logs. Maybe there's something in there.
Abby, whatever we hit, a piece of it shredded my suit. Stings like hell, but spirits, it's beautiful. I need you to go on for the both of us. Don't let that temper get the better of you. Sam, commence transfer.
Yes, Pathfinder.
Even the stars look brighter.
He died before the transfer was complete. That must be the source of Sam's trauma.
Why bring me here? What was the point?
To finish the transfer?
Transfer.
Yeah.
The Turians need a Pathfinder.
And you'll become the Pathfinder.
I can't.
Okay. That does make some sense. But I mean, yes. Very clearly, they were significant others. And so, for that reason, now that's basically confirmation, even though it was very strongly implied before, that yes, Mason seems very much to be dead. And so, basically, Sam and Mason wanted Avidus to replace Mason as the Pathfinder, and that just makes it a little bit, that much tougher to process all that.
What do you mean you can't?
I never thought I'd get the job. My whole career, I worked alone. I don't know how to lead people. I don't want to lead people.
but you can. We believe in you.
Avitus, I've seen you protect settlers. You found the Turian Ark.
Mason
You've
believed in
already
you.
been playing the part of Pathfinder. Just without the title.
A title that belongs to Mason.
Which he wanted you to have. Rejecting it won't bring him back.
What if I let him down?
You could only do that by walking away.
Right?
Ah, damn it, you're right.
Shall I begin transfer?
It'll be safer on the Nexus. Suvi, call Tan. We need a shuttle to pick up the SAM node. Tell him we found the Turian Pathfinder.
Okay, we'll have to see what that sound effect was for. And lost but not forgotten.
All systems green.
Okay, that... I mean, we can... I guess we just assume that he went off and did that thing with Sam, and now he is 100% the Turian Pathfinder? Question mark? Kind of expecting to get slightly more confirmation, or at least, you know, actually seeing that happen. Or like, you know, now call him. And he's gonna say, oh, you know what, Ryder, you were right. That was totally the right way to go about doing it. Stasis pod. And then, as for what that means to the rest of the Turian Ark, does that mean everyone else in the Turian Ark is a goner? Because there were 15,000 pods there. So let's see, from Tan. Avitus Rix is leading a team to recover the stasis pods from Ark Natanus. Yes, they should still be recoverable, right? Or at least, potentially. For someone who wasn't keen to take the job, he's certainly enthusiastic now. If all goes well, we'll have saved the lives of 15,000 Turians. No small achievement. Okay, so hopefully that will still work out in that case. Then, from Liam. Guess we can't fix everything. Environment is one thing, but a shattered planet? It's about as not golden as it gets. Remember that feeling the first time we saw Habitat 7? Can't imagine waking up to just rocks. Augie's making accommodations on Podromos, like everyone in the initiative. And Varund is spreading word about her people. Turians will have homes to help build. Never liked the one world per arc thing anyway. We're all on the same side. Costa. Liam has included a list of media themed to waking up. Genres include homesteading dramas redone for interstellar settings, and several remakes of a story about a day repeating until it's done. Groundhog Day. Something like that. Or until it's done right. Okay, so that's potentially very big. I mean, not exactly the way that we hoped that would play out. It was a level up. I assumed that's what it was, but then I assumed that once we switched screens, we were going to see it in the top left corner. I think I looked over and didn't see it, but, you know, it probably did still pop up, but screen was fading to black when it happened. But yeah, you can see our experience bar is now just barely enough to level up. Why are we on Liam? Oh, I didn't even realize we could access everyone when we're on the Nexus like this, or never gave it much thought. Okay. So, let's see. I think we maxed out the biotic stuff. Then, combat is what we were working on most recently. I think pistols, we weren't 100% sure which one of these we wanted to do. Because at least if we're optimizing for the Hurricane specifically, which is what we have currently equipped, then I think we actually might prefer the without using the aim function, because again, the big issue with the Hurricane is that it is very unstable, and so it huge muzzle climb as you're shooting it, which you can mitigate to a certain extent by zooming in, yes. However, because it's such a usually relatively close range weapon, you don't really want to be running up right next to someone and zooming in right on them from point blank. I'm exaggerating a little bit to shoot them. And for the most part, you basically just to perfectly optimize it. You don't zoom in, you don't quote-unquote aim with it, but you just shoot starting at their feet, basically, at the start of the clip, and then eventually the muzzle climb just naturally takes your bullets, or in this case, the laser beam, since we did turn it into a laser, upward until, you know, by the end of the clip, you're now shooting them in the face. So basically, you get the full clip doing a line of bullets, starting at their toes and ending at their head. And you can sort of fight the muzzle climb to a certain extent more easily when you're not locked in, when you're not aimed in. So that might be better to go that route. Increases accuracy. Wait. Accuracy and stability. Ooh. 20% stability is, by itself, not enough to single-handedly combat the muzzle climb from the Hurricane, I would think, but combine that with, I think we have at least one other form of stability. Like, I think you get some from this. Should we not? Point is, stability is definitely the most important thing, accuracy-wise, for the Hurricane, more than the actual accuracy stat is. Like, yeah, this is increased accuracy and weak point damage, which I don't think is that meaningful for the Hurricane. Okay, so yeah, reading more of the fine print, I think this is very clearly the preferred way to go about doing it. Granted, we've actually been using the Black Widow more than the Hurricane as of late, so for that reason, you can make the case that it's not that high of a priority. So what about this? This is still the question that I was talking about before. Oh, I thought that after the loading screen, I thought that it was just going to pop up in the top left corner. I thought it was basically going to wait to give us the notification until the scene had changed, but then I didn't see it. So the question here, and the question remains because we haven't tested this, is does a trip mine break tactical cloak? With either placing it or manually detonating it. Does one of those things break cloak and the other doesn't? Do both of those things break cloak? Because that is ultimately the determining factor for whether we want the extra power cell or not. Otherwise, sure, I guess we'll take the extra weapon slot. So for that reason, I might still delay a little bit further, but the other thing we could do is by setting up those additional favorite loadouts, favorite builds, we can that way more easily switch over momentarily, test that, and then make a decision. In fact, we could just briefly pop over onto a planet and just basically test that, figure out how it works, and then come back and spend points accordingly. Is there a firing range anywhere in Andromeda? Because I can't remember if there is. I can't think of one. But in Mass Effect, 2 and 3, there's a firing range, right? Multiple of them in some cases. For weapons, it'd be useful because there are a bunch of weapons that we've just never even tried in Andromeda, or, just messing around with augmentations, and especially since we started doing some pretty crazy stuff with that, but also even just weapon mods. That'd be useful. I don't remember in Mass Effect 2 or 3 if you can actually use powers as well at the firing range, or if it is just weapons, but that's the kind of thing where this is basically what we would like to test there. We could just, it's a perfect opportunity to not have to actually go over to a planet, just briefly test how a couple of skills interact with one another. But alas, okay, maybe we will take this now, just because, as I was saying, it's otherwise not yet sure what we would end up taking on the other stuff, even though technically the power behind it, the level 6 upgrade, is actually pretty significant, and we would like to get that soon. But alas. Was there another email here? I thought there were two, but we might have read that one. Oh, right, the second one was Liam's. And now people might have something to say about the Turian arc now that I think about it, so perhaps we ought to ask squad mates and other crew members. Callow does not have anything to say about it, though.
Concentrate.
You know where I'll be.
Suvi?
Pathfinder.
You don't either.
I should get back to things.
Sounds good.
But they're crew members, yes. Squad mates, no. So perhaps, like, Vetra of all people being a Turian, you would think if anyone had anything to say about it, it would be her.
Still thinking about the Turian arc.
There you go.
Mason and Avitus. I hope Avitus is doing all right.
Hopefully.
Time heals all wounds, as they say.
Heals the wound, doesn't erase it. You don't lose someone like that without scarring.
Yeah, it is also a little bit odd that she wasn't on the Turian Ark, but I guess she was presumably along with everyone else who came with the Nexus.
So why weren't you on the Turian Ark?
Our dad left Palavin with us long before the Ark even existed. I don't know if we really count as members of Turian society anymore. But who needs all those rules anyway, right?
I guess. I mean, you didn't leave long before the Turian Ark. The Nexus got here first, yes, but not long before everyone else, right? I mean, I guess it took a long time to set up the Nexus, right?
We can chat later.
You know where to find me.
I guess it still would have taken a long time to set everything up. But it's not as if Nexus has just been chilling here along with everyone else who came with it for 100 years while waiting for everyone else to show up. Otherwise, yeah, it would have been a bit of an issue. We have updates here? No, okay. So, understandably, Vectra did have something to say about the Turian Ark situation. Do other squad mates, though, or is it just a Vectra thing and no one else?
New to Chunka. I bet Tan puckers every time someone says it.
Right. Granted, that's relatively
We'll
old.
talk later.
I know it.
What about you?
Pathfinder.
Nope.
We can talk more later.
Alright. Maybe we leave it at that, in that case. So now that means Solarian Ark, we saved that a little while ago. Turian Ark is in the process of kind of, sort of, being saved, and we now have... Oh, that looks cool. We now have, maybe not the original Turian Pathfinder, but we have a Turian Pathfinder, and we do have the original Solarian Pathfinder as well, so that's certainly good news as well. So then, if we are trying to continue along the lines of prioritizing the arcs, then I think that means the Asari are up next. In fact, is that the only group that we have left? Let's see. So the Krogan, they basically all were on, or the group that came out initially went to Eladin, so the whole New Tuchanka stuff was basically the replacement of Turian, or of Krogan Arc related things. An Asari survey ship, well, this is a survey ship, this is not the Ark. The Paraphona may help you find the... Oh, well, this is ultimately the way that we expect to find the Ark, though. Use the Paraphona's transponder codes to track the ship from her last known location. I know we were doing some things on Eos with regard to the Asari Ark. I don't remember if that's where we were most recently. I want to say Vold is ultimately where it was directing us. It has been a long time since we've been to either of those planets. Eos is the next major main quest technically, I think we need to make a brief pit stop at the Nexus itself, but then they're going to send us to Eos. So, although I do want to go to Eos and probably have a lot of things to do there once we return, we may deliberately hold off a little bit on Eos and do other planet stuff first, since that is eventually where we're going to go for the main quest. So, if this is Vold, then we may do it now. If it is not, if it's going to send us to Eos, then we might wait a little bit and bundle the Asari Arc stuff with when we do circle back to the main quest. Any updates in the description? No. I think that's the same thing that it said before. Okay. So, and again, yes, Vetra's the loyalty mission is over here. Yes, we will, of course, want to do that in the relatively near future. But I think, as of right now, at the moment, we are trying to target all the Arc-related stuff first. There are also all the new systems that we've yet to go to. Where? Yeah, it's on Vold. Okay. So I think that's fine. I think we can do that one then. But yeah, we will want to explore these ones that we haven't been to yet. And for the most part, we found that those basically just have sometimes little bits of experience, a little bit of resources, and what have you, research. So I don't think that's going to be a huge deal, but we'll save it for a later occasion. Alright, so back to Vold we go, and I'm sure we have a bunch of other things on Vold as well. Of course, as with other major planets, we have done a fair bit there already, and gotten the planet up to 100% viability and what have you, but it's been a while since we were last here. Yeah, so the list is pretty long. And it might be worth taking a brief look at that list before we head over there to see what else may be worth doing. Otherwise, you know, kind of like what we did on Eldon recently, we may just go for whatever happens to be relatively near the mission in question here. This isn't technically Cora's loyalty mission, is it? Hold on. Like, I know she's obsessed with... Oh, hold on. I also meant to leave this way. Not the other way. I know she's obsessed with the Sari and all, but... It has her name on it. But it would actually say loyalty mission if it was her loyalty mission, right? It would look like that. Okay, so it's not her loyalty mission, but it might have still required that we take her with us. It might still be the case. Okay. And yeah, I guess we'll just... You know, we'll... As we did with Eldon, we'll probably do missions that are relatively close, or at least consider doing missions that are relatively close by to the one we're focusing on here, and then, you know, we'll probably try to keep at least a few things incomplete at this stage so we can still come back and have things to do on a later occasion on Vold. As for who we want here, I mean, there was 0 combat, as it turned out, on the Turian Arc mission, which I guess made sense, as I was saying before we started that one up. There was no sign of enemies, so it was going to be kind of weird if they made some excuse for the enemies to appear. But it meant that despite us having PB and Vetra, neither of them really did anything. So we could keep these two, although, as I was saying, I think we technically do need Cora to be one of the two. So why don't we, assuming that we're going to use Vetra for her loyalty mission in the not too distant future, why don't we keep PB? We'll basically go with a biotic team here with you two. Maybe that means it's time for us to create one of those favorite setups for our biotic skills, and we go biotics as well, but why is this giving us the exclamation point? I'm not sure. We'll make do.
Approaching the LZ.
I've located a suitable site for an HNS receiver, Pathfinder. Nav point is set.
Okay, we've not been back here since that. Oh, this is still a hazard. And this might be the first time we've, come back here since the initial time when we created the outpost. So let's take a look at our map, because I imagine that's going to be the signal. Okay, that we can certainly do. That's the main thing that we're trying to target. We don't know what this is. Huh. That's a memory trigger. There's lots of caches over here. It's like, here's a perfect example of, we absolutely deliberately went over this to see if there was any loot to be had here, and would have run into a bunch of caches had we already unlocked that at the time, but we didn't. So, as for what we want to do this time around, I think we might as well go after this. Then maybe we see what this question mark is all about. Cache, Asari Arc. Isn't really anything else that is directly on the way. Actually, we have a fair bit of stuff left on Volt. A lot of stuff, actually. Oh, yes, I remember this. Okay. I was getting this location mixed up with... wherever... the other sort of hidden city was. Was it this one? Yeah, I think so. Okay. Anyways, let's go here first. Technically. I think that is the most efficient place for us to start. Yes, there are these things on every planet, so it is also going to tell us to go to the Tempest, but let's get you out. There's a research center on the forward stations? Really? I did not remember that. Oh, just casually craft all your gear while you're on the planet. I mean, I guess you can. The other thing, though, before I forget, that we may, because I will probably forget, may want to do is, oh, no, not that. On this screen, this. Okay, so that creates a favorite with what we currently have set up. But do we need to go out and switch our... How do we create another favorite? So if we just do this over and over again, it's going to keep on making the same setup be a favorite, right? Seed currently equipped. Load selected. Clear selected. Like, do we need to... Hold on. Can we change this on the fly? Are we allowed to do that? Assign power? Yeah? Wait. It's been so long since we have actually changed this. Yeah, I guess so. I guess we can. Technically speaking, this is left bumper, right bumper, both bumpers, which, from a usability standpoint, I think I'd like this to be the opener, which makes sense on the left. Then we'll go this. Ooh. As the secondary skill, and then we keep Tactical Cloak. Okay, so this, as I was saying previously, was one of the builds that I was also planning to do, but was waiting to pull it out until we actually had enough points invested in it to mostly get charged with the recharge speed and or the shields restored. But I think we've reduced the power or the shield cost of other skills enough that perhaps we're still feeling okay about this, and we have such a fast recharge speed that we can absolutely spam charge to get shields back super quickly that way. So that, and also getting Nova down to the point where it can recharge with spending shields rather than having to wait for the cooldown. So this one is going to be, I mean, kind of similar in some ways to what we were doing before, or doing thus far, and that we're gonna use Cloak to set up what would otherwise be already a pretty effective combination, I'd like to believe at least. Hold on, I had a name for this one though. This one is the Nova Cobra. This one is the Nova Cobra, because we are going to Cloak, then we're going to Charge, which is a ridiculous combination that would not have been possible in the original Mass Effect trilogy, because Cloak is the Infiltrator unique skill and Charge is the Vanguard unique skill. So there's no world in which you would be able to combine those. However, we can Cloak, then Charge, and because we have the Cloak that allows us to stay cloaked for a couple of seconds, that means we can remain cloaked even after charging, then Nova, possibly multiple times, because we can use our shields to surpass, or, circumvent the cooldown there, then either recloak and do it again, or just charge again and spam Nova repeatedly, because our cooldown should be really quick on charge, and Nova will, again, not really have a cooldown, as long as we have shields. And so that gives us tons of crowd control with Nova and Charge, because both have at least a little bit of AoE. Good against lots of relatively weak enemies, very scary against bosses, because they will punish you big time for being right up next to them and hanging around there, presumably, unless we have enough force on those abilities to stagger them back and keep them, not able to use their powers, but that's also why Cloak is important there, not only to buff the charge and to be a ridiculous combination with charge, but also so that if we do find ourselves getting into a lot of trouble, we have a way to more realistically retreat somewhat safely. So, and the fact that you can't usually restore shields when you have Cloak on, but charge can restore shields, is kind of a nifty combo for that reason as well. So that is the Nova Cobra, and that is something that I would like to have as our primary biotic setup. Oh, and does your... Ooh. You can also change your profile along with the skills you have for your favorites. I did not really think of being able to change the profile automatically with that as well. And that might still be what we want to have there, although obviously going adept for additional biotic force, AoE, biotic area, effect radius, duration, that doesn't really matter here. Combo radius, now we don't really have priming in this setup. Unfortunately, we had the option with the Nova, which was tempting, because then you have the combos from Nova plus charge, but as I think I said before several times with the Flamer setup, I've been underwhelmed pretty consistently with how much damage we've gotten from combos, so don't necessarily think that we need to be too concerned about that. Basically, it's a question of, oh, and this is only tech recharge speed, not biotic recharge speed. Combo damage, power shield cost reduction, though. That is very nice. The power shields power shield cost reduction, because that means Nova is way more much easier to sustain and much less risky. Vanguard, you would think, would be the logical choice in some ways, because this is basically very close to a Vanguard setup. But melee damage and force we really don't care about. That would sometimes be something you would combine with this setup while you're up close to enemies. Charge, Nova, melee, shoot, charge, Nova, melee, shoot, rinse, repeat. That gives you just enough time to do all those things before you're back on cooldown. Or off cooldown. But, I mean, basically, biotic recharge speed is the only thing that's useful for us here, because we were trying to do melee stuff before a little bit, and it was doing almost nothing for us. So I don't really think we want to be specking around that. Yeah, there are probably passive skills we can get to improve it further, but it's just not a priority for what we're doing right now. So, it's really Adept versus Sentinel. And the tech recharge speed does still work for Cloak, so that's not completely useless. Combo damage, again, not super helpful to the... Basically, this is ease of use, quality of life, logistics, whereas this is just pure damage, but also stagger is not to be... And area of effect is not to be downplayed, because that does mean survivability. Getting the enemies so they are not actually actively attacking you when you're doing all this stuff. I think we try Sentinel, though. I think we stick with that for the time being. Okay, so that's cool. I actually would like, though, to be currently on the... Wait, can we... So can we switch here? How do we actively switch? Can't do it here. Oh, view favorites? Okay. Alright, so we'll stick with, no, we should at least test out the other one, right? We just put it out. We just set it up. We should test it. Obviously, our equipment right now is optimized for tech powers, not biotic powers, which does mean that we're probably gonna feel like this is significantly weaker than our other setup, which is in part why I think that we should not necessarily be relying on this to be our primary setup we're using for major or difficult missions. But in the interest of just getting a little bit of a feel for it.
Remnant site ahead, Pathfinder. It could have defenses in place.
Oh, also this is exactly the opposite direction that I meant to go in, but apparently there is something over here, so sure, we'll test it out now, I guess. Okay, so this is still Cloak. This, maybe we shouldn't charge you first. Charge Nova while still cloaked. Can we Nova? We can Nova again. Okay, granted that was outside the range. Wow, Nova costs almost nothing. Maybe that was because we got a biotic kill with it? That was because we got a biotic kill with it. We can absolutely spam Nova, which is pretty cool. Okay, we can't there though, because we were out of shields. So that's what I mean. That time I was just trying to spam Nova and paying zero attention to what, if any, shields we have. So, okay, and I want the charge recharge speed to be so fast that we can almost instantly charge again. Nova, charge, Nova, no shields, so we need to charge again. We have charge back, so it's fine. We can cloak, buy ourselves a little more time to get this off cooldown, do this again. So, it's gonna take some getting used to. And admittedly, I was focusing more on just trying to spam things as soon as they came off cooldown. So much so that I perhaps didn't appreciate the ridiculousness of being invisible while I charged straight into people. But still, I think that could be a lot of fun. Is it just explosive containers? And there's a tiny bit of platinum. Basically, they're all just guarding a tiny bit of platinum. But, so that's kind of basically the idea with that one. And it's another, a setup that theoretically you could make a case there's specific weapons you'd like to use for it. Something that probably be a shotgun, something you could shoot quickly. Hopefully something that has stagger. And that way it facilitates more easily chaining together the whole Novaing, charging, rinse, repeat, throw in a cloak every now and again. I guess while we're here, we might as well make a point of getting our life support back. Can we go down there? Probably, right?
The temperature is falling, Pathfinder.
So yeah, something like a Falcon or Venom that naturally has explosive stuff would be helpful for that purpose. Otherwise, adding some augmentations to make that kind of thing happen. Where exactly is the thing we're looking for? It's just further in this direction? Okay. It's probably... Is that it that we're kind of seeing on the horizon there? I'm not sure. But yeah, that's the idea. Obviously, that's the only thing we've done thus far to test it, so there's still a lot more that could be done.
Get ready to fight!
Ancient. E-Rock. Okay, well, we're gonna test it. This is a perfect example of the kind of enemy that would normally punish us a lot for being right next to it. So the stagger is important, and obviously he's pretty big. So staggering him is not the most straightforward thing. Oh, there you are. Hello. Goodbye. So definitely a more active playstyle, if you will, in that we are going to find ourselves flying all over the place like an absolute mad lad. Occasionally doing that if we want to, I guess. So yeah, having a weapon that can more easily get spammed. That was not the time or place to do that. So that's probably dealing more damage than our charge and Nova are doing right now. In part because, again, that's what can happen to us if we don't be careful. So basically having a weapon that we can quickly fire off for a lot of damage from point blank range, because we know we're going to be pretty much right up next to the enemies. And also hopefully stagger enemies make it less likely for them to sink us. That's what happened to Phoebe. And also we can shoot from here. Like, obviously, that is actually proven to be more effective than charging Novaing, but that's because that is a highly modded, ultra rare weapon and skill that we've not really optimized or built for just yet.
Helios News Service now broadcasting live.
So if we do find ourselves wanting to switch over to that being our primary setup, then we may, I believe we did not get life support back when we went over back to the outpost. That's weird. But, now we go here. So if we want to make that our primary setup, then at that point, let's see, this is actually the thing we're looking for. But at that point, you could make the case that there's different armor that we'd want to have. Base armor and also augmentations. We may prefer to stay up here. Okay. We'll roll with it. In more ways than one. We should keep that on there. So yeah, that's the other thing, is basically doing the type of overhaul that we did recently with our tech stuff. By overhauling our armor, might make it so that it feels less like the flamer is just way stronger than the biotic stuff. It's been a long time since we last fought Ket. What?
Ket camp spotted.
Okay, what if we switch over? I think the Hurricane or Piranha for that matter. Either one of those would be a lot more natural fit for this weapon.
I'm receiving an unusual reading from that Angara. Scanning the body may provide more information.
That's fair. A lot. I just decided to throw a jump into the Nova to make it feel a little more dramatic. Are they all dead? They might all be dead. There definitely is relevant data.
Sam?
I've repaired the tracking chip signal, reversing it now. The signal is coming from a location here on Vold. I've added the nav point to your Omni tool.
Oh.
Good. Let's find out where these Angara are coming from.
Also, that's nice.
Environment check. Temperatures are within acceptable.
So that might have just been the last one of those that we needed after having done several of them on Vold. I honestly don't recall, because as I was saying before, it's been quite some time since we were last on Vold. So maybe we're building up to that, and I just don't remember. Or maybe that was just a one-off kind of thing, and that was all we needed. But usually that's not the case. Okay.
I think that's it.
So yeah, at the very least, it's certainly a different playstyle, which is, in many ways, sort of the idea. Oh, that wasn't even the question mark, but yeah, in many ways, that's sort of the idea behind having different favorites, right? Now, the thing that we can't do, unfortunately, is I don't think we can switch armor between our different favorite setups. So it's not like we can have an instantaneous swap from tech armor to biotic armor along with the skills and all the other things and what have you. Echidna just does not feel like an accurate name for this. I'm underwhelmed by that damage, to be honest with you. that's another echidna, and that is the actual place we're looking for. Also, there's another bit of remnant stuff over there, and I don't know if we already been there or not. Not seeing anything else showing up on our... Well, that actually is the point of interest. Not
Nice
whatever
work.
this thing is. Guess we'll go here first. Hey, buddy, old pal. I hear you, but there you are.
Enemies!
Is it dead yet? It is not. Now it is. This is very big. Oh, look bigger from the other angle. Well, we'll take it. Also need to be careful that we don't accidentally blow up explosive containers on ourselves, because that's definitely something, seeing all the explosive containers here, that we could easily do with this setup. Anything else around one of the sides? Container-wise? Well, this is just level 1 hazard, but it does feel like our life support is still going down pretty quickly. Maybe it's just because it's been a very long time since we were last on a planet where we've had significant life support concerns. We do have the consumable to help boost it, but...
On the move!
Did that only show up once we pulled out the scanner? Okay, we'll be fine. We'll be good. Oh no, thought I had that out. Then I need to put it back in. There we are. Okay, so the echidna is over there. That might be a respawn of the one that we fought previously, and there may still be one that's closer to this wreckage. Or not. Cat small vessel flight surface. Now, we might have been here before. I don't know. It's not giving us research. Alright, I mean, we don't have a lot of life support right now, so let's head back in. It doesn't have to be. That's definitely more cat dudes. But our target location is back up here, so we should probably not get too distracted with this stuff. This was meant to be a relatively brief detour. The main thing in question was the Asari Arc. This is maybe not the most efficient way up. What if we just go up in reverse instead? Maybe we don't do that though. We could, but maybe we don't. What's this? Large container. Whoa! Okay, oh, this might have been one of the hidden supply pods. So that's an ultra rare. This seems like roughly the same quantity and rarity of stuff that we saw last time we got one of these. 1 titanium and 1 ezo. Lovely. Does it show up as one of those spots if we've already taken, after we've taken it? Maybe not, just I'm not seeing it right now, but I'm pretty sure there was one there before. And visually, that does look different than the ones we saw on Eldon, but I guess that's good to know that they don't always look identical. Whoa.
Huh. I thought this would be the Periphona.
Ice or mineral deposits may be reflecting false positives. The real signal must be relatively close.
Okay, that may be the case, but... that's I would not call that relatively close. I mean, I guess from a... Oh, wait, what? There are multiple locations it might be. Like, a lot of locations that it might be. Like, a whole lot of locations it might be. Alright, so this will definitely send us a lot around Vold. Which I guess is not a terrible thing, but there are a lot of other quests that we might end up running into along the way. Oh, some of these, the poachers, I think Jal wanted to be there for this. And we obviously did not bring Jal with us. So we might need to skip that one. I honestly don't know what happens if we drive past this without Jal. Does nothing happen? Or do we fail the mission because we trigger something and Jal isn't there, and so the game is like, oh, you should have known better. Because I would not necessarily rule that out. But, okay. We are also, as I said, running pretty low when it comes to the whole life support stuff. Okay. So, which one do we want to go for first? Because they are all over the place. Also, what is that? Oh, we were over there before. Yes, we saw a Ket I mean, this was very close to the actual Ket base, wasn't it? But there was a smaller Ket facility before we got there. Oh, I might be thinking of this. Yeah, this might just be flat out the same exact location as a Ket base we went to. Okay. We could fast travel. May even want to fast travel to... It's a rock right there. Oh, this is one of the ones that we saw and we could... and just could not find after extensive searching. Okay. Are any of these close to fast travel spots? I mean, some of them we definitely like to use a fast travel spot to get closer, at least. Oh, there are multiple spots for the poachers. But that's one of them. That's also one of them. Yikes. Because it reminds me a little bit too much of the quest on Eos, where we were looking for the supply crates or what have you, and we had done all but one of them, and we were on our way to getting the last one. And then we accidentally encountered the final people who we were only supposed to see after already doing all the supply crates, and there's no way of escaping the encounter and coming back to it later. So the game forced us to preemptively do that final component of the mission and said that we kind of sort of failed. So I just don't want that to happen. Like going right next to these missions. I mean, otherwise we go back and just pick up Jal and have Jal replace, I guess, PB it would have to be, because we may need Cora for the quest we're doing right now. Not entirely sure if that's the case, but it does technically have at least her image, if not her name on it as well. Yeah, it has her name on it as well. So, I don't know. Maybe we can sort of take a wide berth. Probably Ket spawning in that spot over there, but it's not really where I'm trying to go right now, so I think for the most part I'm just going to ignore them, especially because we've limited life support right now. Unless one of these spots happens to have more life support. Yeah, that gives us life, but not life support, and we've already done whatever it is that we need to do with that corpse. It's just chilling there. So now, have we done a wide enough berth? A little bit further straight ahead first, and then cut east. Oh, this also gives us life support back.
Those clouds are really something.
I always find that the most efficient way to get the life support back from the forward stations is by running them over.
I think that's cat tech. Stay alert.
I mean, yes, we've definitely been there before, though, so I'm kind of, again, deliberately driving past for the moment. Like, yes, we could fight them, but this is the primary thing in question, and we may have to visit all of these places to figure out what the real one is. I don't really know how it's going to work. So if we stop to fight every single one of these cats, we'll slow ourselves down significantly. And again, like, there's nothing wrong with that. We usually do that, but I don't know, I'm feeling particularly inclined to focus in on this. Somewhere in this general vicinity. This. Or was it back there? So I guess our scanner was doing stuff over here, but not when we started going further. Probably, this direction. Yes.
False signal. One down.
Okay. Oh, but are there going to be things here? Is that... Yes, that is platinum. So that's a little bit shy. Not the shyest of platinums. Those are pretty much exclusively on Havarl, but... Is there anything else we want to do while we're in this area? This looks all fancy schmancy, but... Is there actually anything of significance here? Might have fought some remnant dudes here once before. Or maybe I'm mixing it up with a place that looks kind of similar. Also, we'll just casually flip through that real quick. Okay, what's next on the list then? Some battle sites unfold. I think that's... might not necessarily be something we're going for right now. It might be worth just fast traveling here. Don't remember what this point of interest is, but I think that icon being colored in like that means that we have been there before? I don't remember. Okay. So now we can, I mean, we could go up here to get this hidden cache, but that feels like that's in the middle of nowhere and not worth it, because we're probably gonna, at least not at the moment, probably gonna hit this one on our way over to here. That is the far corner of the map. It's also poachers. Again, I don't really know to what extent we need to make a concerted effort to avoid that, or if we're fine just driving right past it, and the game won't get mad at us for not having Jaw with us. But wait, which? Because all these are showing up on the map, so it should be the one that is the furthest east. If we can determine that.
I'm detecting below normal temperatures.
And I believe there was supposedly going to be a
Pathfinder,
cache
this
around there.
area can be mined for resources. You can extract minerals via your mining
platinum, right?
interface.
That PT, that's not bad. I mean, EZO is obviously even better still, but we'll take a high dosage of platinum. More so than the copper. Oh, it tied me to EZO as well. Okay, bonus. Okay, in that case, probably would have preferred to have optimized for that, but... we are theoretically right on... In fact, we've driven past the hidden cache. The hidden cache is our mining node. Confirmed. The heck? Where is it? Behind us. Which now means... this way. It is the mining node? No, it's this. Have we seen this before? I'm not sure I recognize that name. Speaking of EZO, there's a little bit more force. Okay, yeah, so it seems pretty consistent. The stuff you get from the hidden caches. And it's pretty solid. I mean, if you are in need of a solid weapon, ultra rare weapon, you can certainly get them pretty consistently. Is it going to be the exact kind you want? Probably not the first time you get one of these, but get an ultra rare weapon every single time, and that definitely can add up pretty quickly. if you don't have the materials to craft it, or the research to craft it, what have you. The money to purchase it. But I think at this stage, technically, if you want to optimize around
Remnant pillars. Bound to be a few lurkers.
you could make the case that that it's best to actually wait a little bit until we're higher levels, so that the base level drops are higher. Okay, we just got experience for showing up here because apparently these guys killed the remnant dudes for us. Oh, also we have... I forgot. This now? Where? They all dead. Are they dead? I think they're dead now. Any actual significance to this spot? Not really. Doesn't seem like. Beyond just the encounter itself. There's definitely more of these types of things out here, though. There's another cache behind us, but I mean, we'll be in the area for when we do eventually take on the poachers, I suppose, and we'll do those things at some point as well. So it's pretty much straight ahead, slightly down this way. Basically right around where this guy is. Soon. He'll never catch us. Somewhere... Okay, yeah, it's a little bit further away. Just want to make sure we weren't zooming past it.
This is the source of the periphonus.
Oh!
Oh god.
And there's Ket on site. Let's clear them out.
Okay, I
Take them down hard!
was kind of prepared to have to go to all those spots. That's the wrong ability. Okay, so yeah, it's gonna take a little bit of getting used to figure out, get the hang of which ones to use and when, mostly just from a key binding standpoint. Yeah, this is what you could, so you can make a case for either increasing or improving the recharge speed for your biotic charge so that you can more readily alternate between charge and Nova, which is what we did opt to do, or you can instead focus on getting the full shields recharge from an individual charge, which is usually what you would do. But one thing that you can do, which I should be making more of an effort to do, is go in and add cloak to the rotation as well. Okay, okay, Cora, you, and, well, PB, actually, you can't do that when we're about to die to running out of life support, and you keep on preventing me from reading the thing. Okay, 78% operation due to impact damage. Transponder attached to her flight recorder, which has survived largely intact.
That's the periphone, all right. What's left of her?
That's not good.
Definitely Ket weapons fire.
Looks like they crashed trying to escape.
This wasn't just a crash. The Ket pulverized the ship. No survivors.
Do we know that definitive? Well... Okay, also the screen is flashing like crazy. Let's get out of this cutscene as quickly as possible.
But this is stupid. If they want Asari for exaltation, why not take the crew alive?
Ship itself?
It's like they saw the periphone itself as a threat. But it's no match for a Ket cruiser.
Ryder, Cora, we've got a flight recorder here.
It's in bad shape. But let's see what...
Final log. If the Ark ever finds this, we failed. Couldn't draw them off.
Alright, this is not the Ark itself. It's a
The decimation's too cunning.
ship that
Forgive us.
we think might give us a hint toward where the Ark itself is.
The decimation. Hidaria mentioned specialized Ket hunters. Maybe that's them.
Cat do love fancy titles, that is true.
Any way we could use that
What's up,
or
Honor?
a flight recorder to find the Ark?
If the nav record survived, we could trace the Periphona's flight path. Might lead us to them.
Yeah, no, it's just this cutscene specifically, though, for some reason.
I'll take a look when we get back.
So I'd like to get
Still
out of this
lots to
cutscene as
do.
quickly as possible. Now we should be fine. Okay, we got a little bit of viability. We are also about to die from running out of life support. Wait for... So, I was a little bit distracted from the flashing screen and all those other things going on. Wait for Cora to decipher the transponder. So, basically, we're holding off for an indeterminate amount of time before we proceed, I guess? Alright, well, I suppose in that case, we could either, while we are on Vold, continue to do other missions, although as we were saying, at least some of this stuff does, I believe, require Jaal. So that may mean that either we head back to the Tempest and then come right back with Jaal, or we say, just another time. There was one other thing that, totally unrelated, I suppose, that I was thinking we might want to do soon, which is just that it's been a really long time since we last went to Aya. So maybe, if we're looking for something to bide the time while Cora's doing her thing, I mean, I have no idea if it's like, complete a certain number of missions, go to a certain number of other planets, or if main quest progress needs to be made before she'll actually give you an update. I just don't know. So there's a lot of stuff to do here, but yeah, I think a lot of this is actually the same quest that has multiple icons, at least for the case of the poachers, which is like half these things. So, and again, can't do that without Jaal. So I think we probably do just head back now. And a good thing, oh, let's quickly scan if there's anything else that we have here that we've not yet picked up. Otherwise, we should hop in the Nomad. Like, right now. Like, right now. Like, where is the Nomad? I ran past the Nomad. Nomad is over here.
Levels are critically low.
I do see that. Okay, let's head back to the Tempest, and we will perhaps go to Aya. Now, as I said, don't know, I kind of doubt that Cora's about to finish immediately after just taking a quick pit stop at Aya, but it feels like the right kind of thing to at least check in, see if there are other things that we can either pick up for quests, or I think there's at least one thing we can turn in. It just feels like it's been a long time since we've been there.
You have new email.
Oh. Wait for Cora to decipher the transponder. Okay. Read email from Cora. Is Cora gonna immediately say that she's already ready? Maybe. Maybe she doesn't need any time. Had a breakthrough on the location of the Asari Ark. Please come talk. Okay, never mind. She needs precisely 0 time. She needs no time at all, is the actual answer. What's up, man? Turns out we just needed to come back to the Tempest, and that was all. Okay, I mean, it hasn't been that long since we were last checking on this stuff, but I guess we'll see. Wait, we do have this. This stuff. And then... you two are still in progress, but I guess we can throw some teams on these are just bronze missions, so we should probably, or can probably just throw basically anyone on them and we'll be fine. Okay. But, Cora, I assume you're in your usual spot over here? Except that you are not. Okay, she's down below. Oh! Oh! Okay, so it did previously have her name on it, yes, but it was not technically her loyalty mission. Now this does say loyalty mission. Which, given her obsession of the Asari, does perhaps make sense. She was multitasking, you know, as we were, I guess, just transporting ourselves back onto the Tempest. She was also simultaneously tracking the location of the ship that we're trying to track down, or something like that. Oh, that is a glass wall that I'm trying to run into. What? Wait, hold on. What is the correct? Then you go here. Do you go through? Here we are. That's how you get through here. I knew that. I totally remembered that. Okay, so here's Cora.
We got it, Ryder.
You patched up the Asari flight recorder?
Some old access codes, a little data recovery from Sam. We have the Asari Ark's last heading.
It takes
Nav
30
points
seconds.
are set.
That's
we
all.
can head there whenever you're ready.
In fact, the most remarkable thing is how nobody else figured that out previously, because honestly, it was a breeze. It was extremely easy to do that. So, are you sure about where we go, though? You 100% sure? Sure you don't want to, like, maybe double check, given how it kind of feels like you just randomly threw a map down on the table and pointed your finger at a random spot with your eyes closed and said, let's choose that spot.
That flight recorder was a mess. Are these nav points solid?
Worst case, we get a little closer. I'll take a good chance over no chance. We need the Asari and Sarissa more than ever. I trust you to find them before the Ket do.
Alright. We spoke to her. Searched the valet system. Don't remember offhand. I mean, presumably there's... I guess it doesn't have to necessarily be one of the main quest locations. At least in the case of Liam's mission, that was not the case. So it is possible. It may be a unique location specific to this loyalty mission. But it may very well end up just being on one of the main quest planets. Might be worth taking a quick peek. So, and I guess, you know, we were saying that the arcs and the loyalty missions were kind of the two, collectively, things that were at/near the top of our priority list. And so, only fitting that in this case, those two things are getting combined. Let's see, Core Harbor and Duty's Edge. So it is her loyalty mission. The Asari Arc, the Lucinia, is still missing. Given Core's history with Asari commandos and absolute obsession with them, she has spearheaded the effort to find the Lucinia and bring it home to the Nexus. Search the Valley system for the Arc. Again, I just don't know by name. I don't recognize that. And I'm not necessarily sure that we're gonna hop straight into that right now. So I was not necessarily thinking that... I mean, usually the loyalty missions are pretty involved, right? Not sure I'm mentally prepared to do that right this instant. So it's not involved. Let's see. Where is... Oh! It's a totally new system. Or it's a system that we were in before and it just didn't... No, it's totally new. 0% explored. Interesting. So that means it probably will be a totally unique location that we've never been to before. That's exciting. In general, I'm in support of that because there's not too many of those in Andromeda. Speaking of unique locations, though, we did, of course, a little while ago at this point, get all these other spots that we've not yet explored where we're not expecting, to be brutally honest, we're not expecting there to be that much of significance there, because in the past, systems that do not have main quest planets on them pretty much just giving you experience, research, or resource materials for crafting. Not much else, but I mean, I think on occasion we've been proven wrong. So maybe we just check those things out, because that's kind of similar to what the case is for for Korra here, and then, you know, maybe we finish with heading over to Korra's section, or we just use that as a way. I mean, we have been doing, I guess, a lot of pretty big stuff, jumping from one quest to the next, and one planet to the next of significance, and this could be a way to break this up, I suppose, a little bit. Because we don't necessarily have to do all of these systems, we could just do some of them, we'll see what happens.
Considering what they were up against, your explorers made it a long way out.
Because who knows? Maybe there's more to some of these places than we're expecting. Oh my goodness. You see this orbit? It's so big that we can't even see what that far edge of it is. What is this? And it's extremely elliptical as well. Mokalam. Alright, so we'll do at least a little bit of this. Possibly we'll go to all the systems we've yet to explore, but we'll check it out. It is now like the 10th planet that basically looks like a copy-pasted Jupiter. Okay, what is your deal? A tiny gas planet, not a gas giant, at the edge of the Sojourn system, absolutely at the edge, no question. It's a perfect location for exploring ships to restock helium-3 and discharge static buildup in their drives. Yeah, it's cool, I mean, I like how it doesn't just feel like a generic system where, oh, all the planets are really close together, they all have circular orbits. No, feels more authentic. For there to be a system that has a planet that goes way out here. I mean, realistically, basically any diagram that you see of the local cluster, you know, that one that we live in IRL with the sun and earth and what have you, the planets are way farther apart than those charts suggest, those diagrams suggest. So in truth, this proximity is very unrealistic. This is actually the most realistic of all the ones that we see here in this system. So it's kind of a little funny in that way, I suppose. But also cool how, as I said, it's more elliptical. It's not all identical.
Anomaly detected.
Okay, past 48. A little bit of an atmosphere. 51 degrees Celsius. It's not terrible. Spectacular auroral effects flash through past 48's magnetosphere over a temperate, mineral-rich surface. Only the lack of liquid water makes it inappropriate for colonization. I'm surprised. Logically, this does not make a lot of sense that this planet would be this hot unless its atmosphere is composed almost entirely of very strong greenhouse gases, because that is a thin atmosphere, you're very far away from the star, and yet you're still 51 degrees Celsius.
Probe away. Tracking a huge mineral deposit.
Alright, well, now a little bit of copper. A little bit of copper. I mean, unless this star is, like, incredibly powerful, which is possible. And I guess it may be relatively far out in that it is, what, the 1, 2, 3, 4th planet in the system. But it's a lot closer to the star rather than this is. Joan. So, okay, I'm getting the feeling that this star is just extremely powerful in this case, because this planet is closer, has a little bit more of an atmosphere, but is much hotter. Massive uranium deposits are commonplace on Fen Odam. It's one of the few planets the Angara have charted in this system, though they have yet to begin mining. And Boy Done Chief, thanks for the follow. Hope you're enjoying the stream. We're, of course, doing some Andromeda here, playing Blind. Yes, we've read this. Okay. So yeah, the Angara did make it all the way out here. This is... I mean, it's for lack of a better way of describing it, it's the furthest north system that we've gone to thus far, I believe. Although, is it truly the most remote? I don't know, I guess it depends on your perspective a little bit. iron?
I'm picking up something.
Let's see. Basically no atmosphere, and yet it is still 88 degrees Celsius. It's obviously closer to the star, but that would... it's a little bit surprising nonetheless. Past 48's hot surface is composed primarily of magnesia, with notable sodium deposits. Geographic features suggest the planet once possessed oceans. How this is possible is unknown. Oceans of what variety? Oh, we also just immediately started on the thing that we're trying to scan.
Anomaly found.
It's a crevasse of considerable length and width and height. This extraordinary canyon runs long and deep. Hundreds of small caves lead underground. Though this crevasse may be natural, it is currently inexplicable. Get a little bit of experience from that. Alright. No worries. We'll take it. Then, last one. Right. Yeah, and we've talked a lot about it as well. How, you know, I'm a huge fan of the original Mass Effect trilogy, and Andromeda has some things that it does really well. Unfortunately, it does also have some things that it does very poorly. But it does feel like many of those things, in some cases with just a little bit more time, and in some cases with a lot more time and effort, could have turned what is a very good in some cases, but very flawed in other cases game into a much more well-rounded and respected game where it could have been much more successful overall. And just higher quality. But, no atmosphere. 158 degrees Celsius. With its light gravity, silvery coloration, and scorching daytime temperatures, past 21 bears a passing resemblance to Earth's moon. Light gravity, silvery coloration. Does the moon have scorching daytime temperatures? Not sure about that. And the moon has basically has no atmosphere. So usually what that means is whatever side is facing the star is very hot, and whatever side is not facing is extremely cold, because there's no way to regulate the temperature and sort of spread it out across the entirety of the planet, which is what an atmosphere usually does, along with many other things. But I don't know if that means that the moon gets really hot. It might actually. I should know that. That's interesting. Debate over what to name it will be fierce. Okay. Well, that is all here. So again, you know, not too much in the system of any significance. A little bit of experience, a little bit of, I think it was, what, resources? There may still be other systems over here that we can go to in the future if these little dots are any indication. But let's see, we have been there. I mean, this one might be the most remote. At least relative to the places we've actually been to for main quest missions thus far.
This is one of the most remote systems in the cluster.
There you go.
Exciting, isn't it?
Whoa, that is a cool looking star. Okay, and also big, somewhat elliptical orbit over here. Okay, more unnamed planets. So compare this to the outermost planets in the previous system. Basically the same amount of atmospheric pressure, quantity of atmosphere, but this one frigidly cold by comparison. The Scourge has stripped away much of the atmosphere, leaving it unable to retain heat. There you go. Its liquid nitrogen oceans are now entirely frozen. And you? Okay, nothing detected here. Basically no atmosphere, also extremely cold. Orbital velocity slows as the planet nears its It passes near tendrils of Scourge, radically extending its total orbital period in ways too difficult to calculate. That is interesting, though. What do you say? 89.3 years estimated. I don't remember if we'd seen orbital period on other planet readings. If so, then I haven't really been paying that as much attention as other characteristics of the planets. Does this one have that? It does. Obviously, this one is much further in, and therefore would probably have a much shorter orbital period anyway, even outside of Scourge influence. A reasonable atmosphere, although now this one's so close that with that atmosphere, that means that it is scorchingly hot. Windy, frigid desert. Not gonna lie, I read that for a second, I glanced at it, and I really thought that it said Nicaragua. I don't believe this planet is actually Nicaragua. It's named for a mythical Asari penal colony. Even with protective gear, it is unlikely anyone could survive here for long. It's so bright, wow.
Anomaly on sensors.
And now there is an anomaly. Huge atmosphere, and even despite that, not that, I mean, yes, it's very hot, but not nearly as hot as you would have thought, compared to other planets that were further away and had less atmosphere. Unlike the nearby world of Bleeding Ruby, that's a metal name, Kotkobora appears to have been in a state of ongoing volcanism for millennia. Gases released by this activity pervade the atmosphere, which is why it has such a thick atmosphere, but you would think it'd be much hotter for that reason. And naturally, the anomaly is on the exact opposite side of the planet.
Probes launched. Tracking a huge mineral deposit.
It's beryllium, which is not critically important to us, but I mean, it's better than nothing still, I suppose. Okay, now this is theoretically the last planet, Bleeding Ruby. I mean, that I'm not sure we've seen a better name than that. That is pretty darn intense. Oh, so you, I heard you moved over to the Andromeda Galaxy. Yeah, where'd you set up shop? I hear there's a bunch of planets that people are trying to colonize. Oh yeah, no, me and the wife, we found a nice place over on Bleeding Ruby. I'm sorry, what? Okay, so... Oh. Wow. Yeah, it has over 100 atmospheres of pressure. Again, you would think that would mean it would be even hotter still. Named by an exile with a penchant for poetry. Char? Iriba? Bleeding Ruby's rings and tectonic instability are the result of a single asteroid impact that occurred less than a century ago. Very recent, extremely recently from an astronomical standpoint. Alright. Relatively quiet in here, even by the standpoints of systems that do not have main quest missions in them. But, let's at least, I guess, maybe hit these other two. Kindrax. I mean, it does mean they're quicker to go through, I suppose.
I studied Kindrax's theories. A real Turian aeronaut. The first to cross the ocean in a balloon.
On Paladin?
Oh.
Brave soul. There aren't many soft places to land.
Okay.
Detected.
Apparently, that is a thing. Is it gonna be this? Yes.
Probes launched.
I saw the little dot.
Detecting what's left of a ship.
And what is the deal here, though? Oh. Does not look good. Don't know much about it. Crew component 0. As in right now? So I think that's a pretty safe assumption. Or even initially. This remnant fighter appears to have been caught in a tendril of Scourge and utterly torn apart. Interesting. So we learned somewhat recently that supposedly the Remnant were basically harvesting Scourge as an energy source. But it kind of seemed like they were the masters of the Scourge, or at least relative to other species here, so a little bit surprised to see that they're, getting destroyed by it. Okay, a bunch of stuff from that. And more unnamed planets. Whoa, look at that.
Anomaly detected.
Okay, let's see. For you, no atmosphere. Fairly cold. Nicknamed Gorgeous, I agree. It's a beautiful planet. By the science team, H202 has a surface composed mainly of tin and boron. Traces of organic life are present in its rings. They've been formed from a destroyed satellite. What? Satellite meaning moon, not like a synthetic man-made satellite, presumably. Unless... What? Oh, this little dot.
Probes launched. Anomaly found.
Okay, starship wreckage. Also very little to go off here. This debris appears to be from an initiate shuttle. Pieces of powerful scanning equipment drift among shards of hull. Alright, more little stuffs. Soul salvage those things. Similar to what we saw popping up before. Oh, look at that. Speaking of satellites. Yeah, I like this planet. Is that lens flare? Oh, that's lens flare, not other little satellites of a different, or of the same variety, but okay. Now, next furthest in is you. Well, you have a name. I do like how when you come in from different angles and when you zoom in, you can see it's not as if planets are just a singular color. Like, you can see around the perimeter, the atmosphere is a different color. Okay, so speaking of which, there's not much atmosphere to speak of here. Traces of remnant and Ket technology are present on the planet Tonharaset, obscured by the warping effects of nearby Scourge. There was something here that has since been removed. Suspicious. Okay, then it's you. You are very monochromatic, comparatively speaking. Also little atmosphere. Reasonable, fairly reasonable temperature though. Scourge has torn away most of the atmosphere, leaving ravaging electrical storms above and wasted plains below. Oh, okay, maybe this Midradium is not so great after all. Mere traces of plant life remain on the surface. I mean, the fact that any life has traces is saying something. And you can actually see the electrical storms mentioned in the description there. Just throw in the star in the background for dramatic lighting, like that. Alright, and lastly, you are unnamed, though. Okay. Much bigger atmosphere, much hotter. Constant volcanic activity brings magma to the surface of this H73, where it gradually solidifies in the scorching heat. Wait, what? Magma comes to the surface and solidifies because of the scorching? I mean, presumably the surface is still colder than the mantle or whatever the equivalent is of this planet, but the fact that you describe that by saying that the surface is hot, you are implying that it is solidifying because it is hot, when, if anything, that would make it liquid again. which is why I'm confused. That's a very odd way of phrasing that. Okay, so that's it for that system, it seems. Oh, we should probably confirm. 100%, 100%, yep, good. Okay, so let's at least go to Pharos here as well. Not to be confused with Pharos. We may have seen the name of this system previously when we first got these ones popping up, and I may have said that exact same thing before. If so, I'm sorry, but I mean...
The light on the side of this cluster is so different. Maybe the Scourge is absorbing certain wavelengths.
Ooh.
Does it ever give anything back?
Anomaly on sensors.
Okay. This asteroid belt of sorts right next to the star, and there's something in it.
Deploying probe. Getting a scan.
Well, surprise, surprise, it's an asteroid. Among many asteroids. Okay. This gargantuan asteroid is clearly being used as a stopover by outcasts. A small empty supply post and docking station are built into the rock. Alright, apparently that gives us some experience, sure. I guess I'll take it. Let's go outermost and work our way in. Alright, this planet is Asia. However,
anomaly detected.
with a Q. Alright, thick atmosphere, but very cold. I mean, this is pretty far out, so I guess that still makes some sense. It's thick carbon dioxide and argon atmosphere. Carbon dioxide obviously is a greenhouse gas, albeit not actually a very strong one. Shows symptoms of Scourge distortion, though no Scourge tendrils are detectable in the planet's current orbital path. It's gotta be this, right?
Probe away. Detecting what's left of a ship.
Ooh, what is that? Yeah, that looks like it's still running. 44% power reading. Primary instruments... Wait, what? What about the primary instruments? Damn it. Oh, okay. This is a weird place for a line break. Damaged. Backup's functional. It is operational. This Ket satellite is rapidly processing data on the atmosphere of Asiac, though it has been badly damaged by the planet's storms. Okay, we get some research data from it. Feels like we should probably destroy it while we're at it, seeing as how we're not too friendly with those Ket. But, alright. Okay, so that's where we are now. Then work our way in here. I don't really know why. Sometimes some of the planets have much bigger circles like this one. This is... Well, obviously it's because this is Grill. Something, call me George Foreman.
I'm picking up something.
Because I'm selling everybody grills. Lids, did you just reference an extremely... That's not that old. Okay, also the target for this is absolutely minuscule.
Probes launched. Anomaly found.
It's a volcano. And admittedly, I didn't even read the description for the rest of this planet yet. So, it's a volcanic site. Scoria cone with current explosive eruption. Lava composition. Comatite flow with unknown materials. The lava flow from this volcano has annihilated an unmanned outcast monitoring post, leaving equipment scattered and buried. Okay, that's also experience. Or what is the deal with Grill? Very thick atmosphere. Hot. Hotter than you'd certainly like it to be for colonization purposes, but it's not like it's the hottest we've seen. First discovered by an outcast with an unusual sense of humor, Grill was named for its extremely hot metallic surface and earmarked for future mining operations. Does it always allow us to go back? I guess it does always allow us to go back into things, even if we've already scanned them before. Ooh. It has a little satellite in addition to a ring. Okay. Now it would be you. Okay, nothing to scan here. Ifaja? Pretty thick atmosphere. -1 degree Celsius. I mean, that's too thick of an atmosphere to live on it, but that would crush you. But temperature's not bad. Thanks to its unusual orbit and axial tilt. Ah, it's not a coincidence that kind of coming in on some kind of weird angle. Ifaja is pounded by snow and howling winds for all but a few hours of each 56-hour day. Alright, nothing for us to get here? Okay. Then, what is probably the last one, this unnamed planet over here. Looks a lot like our moon. Tiny atmosphere. Temperature is reasonable, though. A near constant bombardment of meteorites from the nearby asteroid belt pelts the surface of H-28. Its only real weather is the resulting dust clouds. Oh, that's unfortunate, though. Okay, so that is all for Pharos, but not Pharos. Okay, so how many more of the new systems do we have? 1 over here, 2 over here, and the one that we just learned of from Korra. It may just make sense to finish them all up now. It probably does, while we're at it. I mean, as we've seen, they're pretty quick.
They named the system after a Batarian pioneer.
Oh.
Your first astronaut. It's good to remember these things.
Did the Batarians send anyone to Andromeda? That might be the first time anyone has mentioned the Batarians at all in Andromeda. It's gotta be this thing, right? Oh, right. That's the send probe button.
Got a reading from the asteroid belt.
Okay. That looks Ket. It sure is. 68% structural integrity, no life. But yet, you can see some damage. Ket scout vessel appears to have been abandoned in the asteroid belt after an engine failure. Its aimless drifting among the asteroids has resulted in significant damage, but some materials may still be salvageable. Including, well, all the salvage. Okay, so then we'll just start out, work our way in. As per usual, Dinesh. Okay, let's see. Basically no atmosphere and understandably very cold. Cobalt and nickel form the outer layer of Dinesh's crust. Scans suggest the planet is far less tectonically stable than it appears. Okay. Now let's go next one in. Is that a ring system? Wow. That's a very... I mean, again, this is probably more realistic than the ring systems that we saw on other planets, but it is way further out relative to the planet itself. Negral has a very thick atmosphere, and even with all that, it's still only 19 degrees Celsius, probably because it's still relatively far out. Negral's crushing atmosphere is toxic and violent. Its density makes scans difficult. The planet's ring appears to be of relatively recent origin, possibly related to the Scourge. I mean, it's not that far out, depending on how accurate this scale really is. Okay, I think you're technically the next closest.
Anomaly detected.
Okay, we do have something here. On H505. Thick atmosphere, yet, despite being closer, still minus 27 degrees Celsius. Hidden from early surveys by reflective objects in Darhega's asteroid belt, H505 is a frigid world with a krypton nitrogen atmosphere. I guess those are gases that don't necessarily retain heat all that much. Where's the thing we are looking for? It's tiny.
Probe away. We've got a crater.
Okay. Hypervelocity impact crater. Heavy metals deposited. This is the largest of multiple impact craters, suggesting a swarm of debris, possibly from the asteroid belt, struck H505 in the distant past. Okay. What do we get out of this? Just you know, useful things to add to our logs. We'll get some experience out of that. And then the furthest in does have a name. Whoa! That was dramatic. Did not expect that color. That's very cool. That color. And the way that it zoomed right in. No atmosphere. Minus 75 degrees Celsius. Sometime in the past century, Jagraph was impacted by a very large or very fast object, natural or artificial, that cracked open its mantle and caused a continuing series of quakes. When it looks comparatively much lighter when you go to the side that is facing the star, because it is very close to the star. Or you go over here and go all eclipse mode, and it looks pretty cool too. Alright, well that appears to be all here. Now that leaves just one more, yeah, this one, besides the one that obviously Cora wants us to go to. I think this is the last one. We might want to quickly double check to see there's a chance that we hovered over one of them, and so we lost the exclamation point even if we haven't technically gone there yet. I don't know. Might be worth a quick verification.
Very little signal traffic around.
It's pretty remote. I wonder what view of the Milky Way you'd get out here.
I mean, this one might be the closest of the ones that we visited recently.
I'm picking up something.
Probably once again, the little
light. Anomaly found.
Alright, some debris on the asteroid. Fragments of remnant technology are buried on this asteroid, nearly unrecognizable after centuries of disuse. Yeah, a little more experience. I mean, is that basically the amount of experience... Oh, another one. That we get from... It's probably this. Basically the same amount we get from,
Probe away. Tracking a huge mineral deposit.
Roughly average encounter with combat in it on a planet. Some of them are less than that, but some of them are a little bit more as well. So, you know, obviously we haven't leveled up from doing this stuff yet, but I think we have once or twice in the past. We've got enough of them that it would start to add up a bit. Alright, so this massive asteroid is the size of a small moon. It could serve as a perfect base for future scientific and mining expeditions into the asteroid belt. And will give us some aluminum.
I'm picking up something.
There's a third?
Probes launched.
A third anomaly?
Got a reading from the asteroid belt.
Independent from the planets themselves. In the same system? That has to be first. Unless we're talking about maybe some systems that had quest-related stuff, but this is all completely unrelated to quests, at least I think. Unless this is something we should know about. I don't know what the deal about it is, except that it theoretically used to have 5 to 8 people. Appears to be the wreckage of a Ket dropship, okay. Perhaps they were seeking remnant technology in the asteroid belt? We'll get more salvage. Whoa. Okay, that's very dramatic lighting there. Alright, so now for the actual planets. Any more last second anomalies you want to tell us about? No? Okay. Okay. Past 31, no atmosphere, very cold. Ocean plains of frozen ammonia dominate the surface of Pass 31, climbing into icy mountains along the rims of ancient craters. Nothing of particular note there, though. Next in would be you. Balloon? It's a balloon! Thick atmosphere, pretty hot. Named for an early Angaran explorer who perished in a hot air balloon accident, on balloon surface. This rocky world commands a quiet respect from the Angaran people because they are concerned that as it increases in heat, it will continue to expand until eventually it will implode. Explode, probably more than implode, but you know what I mean. Okay, then... No! No way. Okay, so Gareth, for what it's worth, is, don't even need to read anything about it. Without question, the most stylish of all of the planets in the entire galaxy of Andromeda. Clearly, obviously. Indisputable. See, look. Anor knows. I didn't need to tell Anor. Anor already knew. So... obviously, Gareth has 22.55 atmospheres worth of atmospheric pressure because that is what the most stylish planet in the galaxy here would do. Also, 67 degrees Celsius, objectively the best temperature for any planet to be. Beneath the planet's crushing argon-based atmosphere, microbial life forms are flourishing on Gareth in and around underground pools. Because you know, the underground scene on Gareth is out of this world. Out of this world. 90% of people are like, what on earth is Liz referring to? What is the significance of Gareth? If only you knew. Whoa, that's very zoomed in. This might be the last planet. Wouch? Might be how you're supposed to say that? No atmosphere. 72 degrees Celsius. Surveys from the Milky Way suggested Wouch might contain vast mineral wealth just beyond its surface. On closer examination, no such deposits exist. Okay then, is that everything? I think it might be. Yeah, and it says progression 100%. So theoretically, we've done all there is to do here. And that may also mean that we've now done everything that there is to do in all of the galaxy, or in all the systems, I should say, that we know about outside of this one that we just learned about from Chorus. Let's just do a quick double check, particularly on the ones that are not currently popping up, unless we hover over them. Because yes, we had the exclamation points before, which made it very obvious which ones we had not yet been to, but not 100% sure if we happen to briefly pass over one of them without actually entering it, if it would still get rid of the exclamation point, or if that only happens once you actually visit a location. Okay, so yes, we will want to sometime soon do both Korra's loyalty mission and also Vetra's as well. The fact that Korra's happens to be not only a loyalty mission, but also something that is tied to one of the arcs that perhaps, despite the fact that we've been waiting on Vetra a little bit longer than Korra, may raise Korra up in front of Vetra on the waiting list. Sorry, Vetra. On the other hand, we were also talking about maybe wanting to pay a quick visit to Aya to see if there are people that we may... there's definitely at least one person that we need to check in with here. I think it was PB in the museum. And then it's also just been a really long time since we were last here, so there might be new quests that we don't even know about that we can pick up there, or other updates of some variety that we just don't really know about. I'm not sure. So I feel like it's worth taking a quick stop over there to see what the latest news is on Aya. And so it may be a quick pit stop if it turns out there's just that one thing that we were talking about. The one person wants to speak with us. I mean, I imagine there's going to be at least a little bit more than that, but exactly how much, I'm not sure. Well, let's see. So PB the museum trip is what I'm thinking of. Reading favors, safe journeys, movie night, the right setup. That some of these things may be relatively quick. Others may not be. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. So as I said, it does feel like it has been quite some time since we were last here, and that does mean there's at least one new quest for us to pick up, and a lot of people who theoretically we should probably chat with. Let's see what this is all about first, though. Also see if there's anything else that we can overhear. It's fast travel. You. Oh, wait. We know this name. I don't remember exactly why we know this name, but we've definitely heard this name come up in the past.
Honor to meet you, Pathfinder. Initiative Pilot Marixus. I run supplies to your outposts.
What brings you to Aya?
For survival supplies, only Aya has. I'm waiting on clearance to enter the city, but it's taking too long. I understand their caution, but the outposts need these supplies. I have to get them, now.
They let me into the city? I can help.
I appreciate that. To start, EOS needs a way to produce food to support population growth.
Yeah, that's pretty important.
They requested Kiloa seeds to begin their own crops. There's an agricultural scientist who might sell some.
I'll make sure to get those seeds.
Settlers on Kadara are suffering from a bacterial infection. They need Angaran antibiotics to fight it. A medic in the city should be able to help.
Got it. They'll have that medicine in no time.
Eladin's water purifier can't keep up with demand. They're requesting one of those Angaran ionic filters. There are engineers who work in the aqueducts here. I'll bet they have what we need.
On it. One filter coming up.
Alright. Do you have another quest for us? Is there a reason why you still have an exclamation point above your head?
Pathfinder, more of your outposts need help, if you have time. Vold's power grid is lagging without
Yep,
proper
okay,
solar
there's
input.
stuff for every
Solar
outpost.
amplifiers
Gotcha.
give them a boost. The solar technicians here may have the required parts.
I'll see what I can find.
More still? No, that's it? That's it for now? Okay. So I mean, it may just mean that we basically go on a shopping spree. It's kind of what it sounds like. Could fast travel, but I think we have enough people to talk to here that we might as well stick around a little bit. Now, granted, am I going to remember what all these things are? Some of which we might have done a long time ago that I'm not 100% sure of.
You came back?
Apparently
I have
we
bad
did.
News. Your supplier, Keldo, the Ket got him.
Apparently, yes.
Thank you for confirming how he died. You have his supplies?
Okay, now, yeah, and admittedly, that context feels like it would be pretty useful right about now. I mean, we just told him someone died? Apparently this was Ephra's test? No idea what that's supposed to mean, but sure, let's see where this leads.
Keldo ran weapons for the Resistance. You were his contact.
Good. Continue.
Ephra asked you to test me. See how I'd handle myself.
Oh.
I told him you were smart.
The Ket had your weapons. I got them back.
Yes, all of them. And Keldo's killer's dead. This is good. You're honest, Pathfinder. Reliable. I'll tell Ephra you did well.
Okay, are we friends yet?
I appreciate it. I do want our people to get along. Help each other.
You proved it. This time at least. Need to get the weapons where they belong, but Keldo would want me to help you. I have things you can use, and I want to see your credits for myself. Trade?
You'll accept credits? Okay.
Resources are scarce for us. If you'll take credits, I'll trade.
It's a start. My inventory's open to you. Anything you need.
Alright, what is it? Whoa, this guy's sell. Good stuff. Because we basically can't find the Cobra missiles anywhere, so I will absolutely take all of them from you. No question. And high rarity consumable, or, resources. I'll take, shield capacitors if you have them. Yep. Don't mind if I do. Take those too. It's probably it in terms of things we want, but we'll take, mostly the missiles. We'll definitely want to take those. Oh, we also picked up some stuff from, those supply packs. I mean, the hidden caches that we didn't really need. Let's also sell our salvage, which is pretty valuable. Okay, nice. Okay, so that was one of the first people that we met who gave us quests here on Aya. So I think that was kind of a significant one. I don't know to what extent that really makes any impact on... Oh, past you. On... Or you're actually around here. The relations between humans and, in general, the Andromeda Initiative and the Angara. It's sort of implied that that was the case. Which would be nice if that does actually help us out long term, but who knows.
You're always a welcome sight, Pathfinder. Still no word from our search vessel. How goes your hunt for the missing satellites?
Your people caught scavengers from Kadara Port stealing them. There was a fight. Your ship lost.
I sent them out. And risked your life, too. The scavengers. Angaran? Have our deserters preyed upon us again?
Was this the one where on Kadara there's like this big E-rock, like an ancient E-rock that attacked? Scavengers, our deserters preyed upon us again. Okay, so I'll be honest. One of these things is a lie and one of them is the truth. One is to cover up what actually happened and one is to be honest, and I have no idea which one's which. Because I probably should have checked what quests were turning in here, but I didn't. So, and this was a while ago, so I don't remember. This was like probably multiple weeks ago. So I want to say that's probably true, and this is like us taking the blame, or no, this is probably true. That the truth is kind of sheds a bad light on the Andromeda Initiative, whereas we can lie but make ourselves look a little bit better by hiding the fact that we kind of caused some issues. I guess we'll try this and be honest, I think, is maybe what this is being. I don't know.
The criminals were my people. Exiles. They ripped your satellites into scrap. I brought what's left.
The initiative is supposed to explore, not steal and kill.
Uh-oh.
Why would your people steal something that protects us all?
I don't know. I don't even know if that was
Murder those
true.
who are only trying to help.
These were a few bad people. There are thousands of good ones out there.
How can we tell the difference? Maybe the others are right. What if you are no better than the Ket?
These scavengers abandoned the initiative, just like your deserters left you.
And we hate them too. Keep what your people stole and go. I can't talk to you anymore.
Alright, so that stinks. So that's clearly not the...
Sorry to hear things went south with that Angaran astronomer, Ryder. Found a silver lining, though. The scrap satellites are gonna come in extra handy.
Not as handy as what we could have had, but I'll take it.
Okay, so if I were feeling so inclined, I could save scum, reverse it back, and deliberately go for the other option. That feels pretty dishonest because on one hand, as I said, I had no idea. I had no recollection whatsoever as to what the circumstances of that mission was. And so it was basically 100% a wild guess on that. And it very much looks like we chose the one that was inferior. Now, would we have chosen that still if we had remembered the details? I have no idea. You know, it seems like I think our guess was correct, that technically what we said was the truth. However, it made ourselves and everyone else in the Andromeda Initiative look bad. So it made this guy really mad at us when perhaps he would have otherwise been very supportive of us, and who knows what that might have led to in that case. So I don't know how significant that is. But again, I think I probably still would have gone the direction that I did go there, even if I did have the information, so I think we'll keep it there. Otherwise, yeah, it feels like that'd be kind of, it would be particularly save scummy if we were to wind the clock back to undo that. The one difference maker would potentially be if, you know, I remembered, oh, this guy specifically, we had heard that he's, you know, particularly sensitive or you know, concerned about what role the initiative and humans will play in the galactic community, and so he would be relatively quick to accuse us of being traitors and terrible people if we were to tell him that a small subset of us did something bad, and he'd blame everyone else for it, even if, as we sort of said, you know, it's a small subset, much like they have a small subset of people who've also been issues. And Moshe Shefa. So let's, before we go rushing in to speak to all these people, let's take a little bit more time to wind things back and remind ourselves what exactly it is that we are speaking to them about, so that we don't find ourselves shooting ourselves in the foot unnecessarily. Moshe Shefa urges you to speak with the few remaining Angara on Aya who remember how the Ket conquered their people. Moshe believes these elders' insights can aid the initiative's struggle against the Ket. That seems like that's not so much turning something in as much as it is just doing something for the first time.
The Moshe said you remember when the Ket arrived.
My father's oldest friend was chosen to be Volt's ambassador to the Ket. The day he left, they embraced as brothers. All the Ket sent back was his badge, and a holo recording I wasn't allowed to watch. I was too young to understand why everyone was scared. Why my father mourned for months.
That does sound pretty terrifying, yeah, I guess.
Why kill an ambassador and risk retaliation?
They told us it was retaliation for Havarl's attack on their envoy. Havarl received the same story, but in that one, we were the aggressors. We were so busy blaming each other. We were divided when the Ket launched their assault. They'll try the same with you. Be ready.
Okay. Now, are these... There's certainly... I'm about to say chance, although maybe even that is an understatement. It is very likely that this is foreshadowing, potentially of a significant foreshadowing of what may happen with the Ket in the future with the main quest. And so if we remember the things that these people say, we can bear it in mind and potentially more effectively do whatever it is that we need to do to combat the cat. Chances of me remembering the specifics, however, over the course of what will probably be multiple weeks, as we just saw in the case of the previous quest that we turned in, are pretty darn low. So, although in theory that's something that we would like to do, it's probably not really going to end up happening.
You work on the solar panels? Do you have an amplifier for solar energy?
Nothing as big as these, but I have a smaller one on hand. Do you need it?
Okay. Highly optimized solar energy collection and storage technology. That's not the way that solar panels, or at least, just casually, oh yeah, no, hey, you know, we've been doing all this solar power stuff. What if we just, why not throw an amplifier on them, right? Like, that's totally the way that works, isn't it? I am tempted to write that down. On the other hand, it does kind of feel like it was straightforward enough that I would probably have assumed it anyway. Basically, it was the Ket are going to try to cause confusion and divide you being human / more likely the Andromeda Initiative as a whole, before they attack, to make it easier for them to be successful with that attack. Which is probably something we would have been wary of to begin with. So that one in particular, at least, I don't feel like should be that much of a concern. So even if I don't remember it, I still think I would be relatively conscious of that risk. Whereas if there are other ones that are more, that are less straightforward, then perhaps it will be worth jotting those down.
The Moshae said you'd want to hear my experience with the Ket, to learn from it.
I do. Tell me about it.
They had just arrived. I was on a civilian shuttle to Volt when we received a message. The spaceport was on lockdown. Security concerns due to the Ket. We were supposed to land on a nearby moon and wait for the all clear. Instead of landing, the shuttle captain turned back. Something felt wrong, he said. Later we learned it was a Ket transmission to isolate us for capture. The captain had saved our lives.
Okay, so like this could be worth noting. I'm also pretty sure that I once had a pen up here, but I have since misplaced it. So not even sure I could write this down on the pad of paper that I'm currently holding. But this could be harder to remember. That the Ket had some kind of false transmission that they sent out to try to, once again, separate, in this case physically, the people who they were going to attack. Although they didn't fall for it, so they avoided the issue, but...
The enemy uses confusion to take advantage of the vulnerable.
Many shuttles obeyed that false order. Those people were never seen again.
Yeah. So some kind of false communication. Oh, hold on. I don't know what that was, but that's who I want to talk
Weird question. You don't have any Kiloa seeds, do you?
Yes, I do. Need some?
Sure. We do need to purchase superior. Oh, this is for the party one. I was like, do the outposts need superior audio-visual setups for their movie nights? Because, I mean, that might be nice to have, but not really sure that needs to be a top priority.
How's my goods? You won't walk away empty-handed. We're still good.
You also have missiles. Apparently, the Angara just have all of the missiles. They're hogging all the missiles. Get more shield stuff, because it's not that expensive, and it is useful. Also, not gonna lie, I briefly skimmed over this and thought it said copium. Oh, dear. Nutritious plant, which properly dried and prepared is given to Angaran children as a snack. I don't remember if we need this, but it looks like a quest item. I don't know if we've used this yet, but it looks like a quest item that we'll need at some point, so I'll buy it. This is what we're looking for the quest in question when we were just reading. Electrodermal transmission components with work. They could be compatible with the Tempest Vid systems. Okay. Return the components to Jal. With the Vid stuff, at least. To remind me what the other people have. But we can't actually buy.
I'll get moving.
Anything from you? You have materials? Oh, you have augmentations. Interesting. I might nab a few of these because I did not remember if we could buy these from shopkeepers or not. And this one in particular is something we like. The damage to armor is... It makes Flamer even stronger against that. Don't really need... Oh, wait. We've seen this before? Changes weapon fire to automatic? Maybe all of the weapons that we've been looking at previously were just not allowed to do this for some reason, and that's why it never popped up, but I feel like we just have not seen that. And then the, biotic power damage and recharge speed and what have you, those feel like the kind of things where just sometimes we're going to want to spam as much of that stuff, like this as well. Like multiple of these thrown into the same item or, spread out across multiple different items, but stack multiple rounds on them because one is not super significant, but it is a good stat to be buffing. So getting a bunch of them could definitely start to pay off. And, we aren't really focusing on shields damage right now, although it is our weakness in some ways, at least with the flamer setup. So, we could benefit from that. That's good for Nova. And, no, more so charge. Not Nova, because it's not reducing the cost, it's increasing the restoration. Tech recharge speed, we'll take it. Don't think we need to be purchasing even the high-level materials, because at this point, I think we're doing pretty okay from that standpoint. Unless something else really no, I think that'll do. It did actually add up a fair bit expense-wise, but again, like there's almost nothing that we need to buy at this point.
I feel so out of place here. People keep staring at me. I can't tell if they're fascinated or afraid.
Or in love! I mean, we are technically romancing Vetra, so, I mean, objectively, this is the correct answer.
Maybe they've all got huge crushes on you.
Ryder, that's a little far-fetched.
Or is it?
I don't think so. Everyone wants a spiky girlfriend.
Okay, maybe don't phrase it that way, though.
Sure, Ryder.
I'm not selling to aliens.
Oh, sorry. Probably don't need to purchase armor, because we can basically craft better stuff than you're selling. You're basically crafting specifically better versions of the exact things that you're selling us here. Okay. What do we have left? I basically just keep on walking through from one section to the next, and generally speaking, there's going to be someone else for us to speak to who has something important to say to us, or vice versa. Including the governor. I assume that's who this is directing us toward over here.
Enro tells me you've participated in our little citizens forum near the market. Take care with that group's leader. She competed with me for this office. Defeat made her bitter.
Okay, now granted,
what can I do for you?
I probably should have read up on why we were talking to her once again, so that I had a little more context. Do we have reason to talk with her about Kadara Port? I don't know.
Why didn't you tell me about Kadara Port when I first arrived?
I assumed you already knew. We didn't realize there was a difference between your exiles and the Initiative.
Fair enough.
As for Venturev, Evra hid his betrayal from everyone. He'll answer for that.
And that was the guy that we found on Kadara Port that gave us the info that ultimately led us to the Archon's ship, I think?
Thanks for your time.
Ishare, Pathfinder.
Or maybe there wasn't anything quest-related that we needed to speak with you about. Kind of just assumed that the person we needed to speak to over here was going to be you, but it's actually an ambassador. Director Tan reports that the Angara have opened an embassy on Aya. Check in with the Initiative's representatives there to make sure things go smoothly. Oh, we're all about smooth relations with the locals. But never have we ever run into issues with the... Oh.
Ambassador, I trust our people had a
Actually, never been in here before, have they?
The Angara have been gracious. Everything's going well.
Good. Keep me updated. Tan out.
I've never lied to a director before.
Oh. Uh-oh. That's... Also, first of all, probably an objectively false statement. Second of all, probably means there's stuff for us to do there. What's your deal, Reynolds?
The ambassador's messages are overflowing again.
Oh, okay.
Pathfinder, it's a pleasure. I'm Ambassador Riala, Chief Diplomat for the Initiative on Aya. I was removed from Cryo specifically for this. Quite the wake-up call.
Okay. Hopefully that means you're an expert.
I assume you're trained for first contact diplomacy.
I'm a social anthropologist with a linguistics background. Close enough for Director Tan. I hear you're to thank for our new ties with Aya. This is our best shot at an alliance. Now we just need to keep our people from wrecking it, no matter how hard they try.
Might be a little bit guilty of that.
If something's wrong, I need to know.
Maybe you can help me fix it. A Solarian botanist named Sorvis Len is here, learning how to improve our crops. He sent an urgent comm, saying a member of the Angaran resistance had threatened him.
What happened?
I'm not sure. Sorvis is an excellent scientist, but not the best communicator.
Oh.
I'm concerned this could escalate if someone doesn't look into it, but I don't have the staff to spare.
Alright. We can certainly do this. What I'm wondering is...
I can go settle things. I'm a friendly face for both sides.
That would be helpful. With any luck, we can prevent this from getting worse.
Okay. What I'm wondering is, it seems like there are lots of quests that at least make mention to the overall state of relations between the Andromeda Initiative and the Angara. And so what I'm curious about is there some kind of system working behind the scenes that dictates, what is the actual relationship between the Andromeda Initiative and the Angara, where do a certain number of side quests or turn in side quests in a certain way and you get, bonus points of sorts that improves the standing between the two groups of people. Or don't do, or turn in quests the wrong way, like the one that we had a little while ago near the port area, and you'll lose points or just not get points. And presumably there is some kind of narrative / gameplay, mostly probably narrative, consequences for whatever that state is once you get further along in the game. So, although we may have done one, or possibly more, I don't know, of those things not quite optimally, hopefully by doing several things properly, we can still make things work. Otherwise, I would have thought that, in the absence of that, instead of having a sort of all-encompassing scoring system, that maybe there's one or two missions that are more significant than others, and whatever you choose for those ones is ultimately what matters, and everything else is... They might say that it affects how the Angara think of the Andromeda Initiative and vice versa, but it doesn't actually change anything. So, I don't know. I'm curious. And, We may find out later. Hopefully we find out in a good way. That we have won the favor of the Angara.
What's our end goal for Aya?
A strong alliance is all we can ask for. It's what we're working toward.
Exactly. To
Helios
basically
is
make the
Angara's
alliance stronger.
home. They dictate the terms of this partnership, not us. We need them as allies, and they could benefit from us. But we have to tread lightly.
Show them we're not invaders.
Historically, when two civilizations meet, one consumes or destroys the other. We need to break that cycle.
Fair. Okay. Other visitors?
How many of our people have they let into the city?
A strictly limited number, and only certain professions. Scientists, engineers, and scholars. The Angara have agreed to allow some of our people to work in Aya's research facilities.
That's huge.
It's more than I expected. Tan wants me to push for social visits, but I'm holding my ground. We need to
define
move at
social
their
visits.
pace. They've been extraordinarily gracious, all things considered. I'll take whatever they're willing to give.
Alright, but you did allude to other problems.
Aside from Storvis Len, is everything okay? Need anything else?
Actually, yes. Director Tan gave me a project. He wants more Aya natives to live on the Nexus. He thinks it will deepen our partnership. A few Angara expressed interest, but none of them will agree to live on the Nexus without speaking to you first.
Why me?
After what you've accomplished? I didn't want to bother you, but you asked. I'll point you towards the candidates. If you could convince them to transfer, I'd be grateful.
So that seems like an entirely different quest, in that case.
That's all for now.
I'm here if you need anything.
And apparently that leveled us up. Twice. What? Wait, we were definitely 47 before we did all, at least before we did all of our exploration. No? Apparently not, because we only have 7 skill points. Okay, maybe I forgot. One of the times we leveled up, because I did not think we were this close to hitting the 50 threshold, which is, of course, going to unlock 1 higher level worth of gear and what have you. So, okay, with 7 more points, I think it is combat we're looking at next. Still have not tested this out yet with this, which one we want here, because that is dependent upon how exactly Tripmine interacts with other abilities, so could go into more on assault rifles, although we, for the most part, have just not been using assault rifles at all as of late, so it's maybe not the most useful thing for us. Otherwise, actually have been using snipers a lot more than I would have expected, but damage, accuracy, if we are going to continue using, I mean, I don't really know how long-term the Black Widow thing is going to continue to be something we do. It's kind of an experiment that we were messing around with, and then we happen to put what was probably the most important mod on the Black Widow, and so that's by and large the reason why we've continued to have that be one of, if not the primary weapon that we've been using. So I'm not really sure we want to be investing long-term in that, though. Whereas this is a more combat power damage, melee damage, detonator damage. None of those things are really useful for us. Hover duration, kind of. Damage resistance while evading, that is nice. I mean, it's a very brief moment while we're evading, but usually we're evading when we're trying to avoid getting hit by stuff, so there is something to be said for, I think, 100 damage resistance cuts the amount of damage we take in half, if we don't already have any damage resistance to begin with. So that's not bad, but that's fairly expensive just to get all the way up to that, and that everything else is pretty meaningless. Jump melee damage, jump melee area of effect radius. I mean, I do like to slam, but mostly just for dramatic effect, not actually in combat. Combat detonator damage bonus, again, not really expecting that to be much of a factor. Damage resistance while airborne, hover duration, weapon accuracy while airborne, maybe. There's a little bit of value in that, but not a ton. Now that we've started to do a little bit more on the biotic side, do we have offensive biotics? Yeah, maybe some of that. Biotic power damage. That could be useful if we're trying to rely on our biotics to actually do some stuff. Recharge speed as well. Get the biotic charge happening more frequently. Don't really think the detonator damage is going to be a huge deal because we haven't really been priming for biotic stuff, but eventually gets us to more biotic damage or more recharge speed. Okay, yeah. I think this is the place we should be building up, at least until we do eventually confirm one way or the other if the trip mine works. Well, just basically answer the question, how does it interact with tactical cloak? Okay, nice. So that should be useful. Yeah, I think we didn't take that before because we thought that it was a passive, so it's theoretically active all the time, but it's a passive that only affects active biotic abilities, if that makes sense. And we weren't using any active biotic abilities, so it only very recently became useful to us. Okay, so now, theoretically, we're also supposed to chat with Angara people who may want to join the Nexus. Now, I don't know if this is going to actually be something that you can fail on. You know, kind of like the person that we spoke to over here, who was not happy with us when we said some things about some criminal... We admitted that there are some criminals that have originated from the Andromeda Initiative. So is it going to be like that, or is it going to be like, oh, hey, you know, just chat with these people, and no matter what you do, they're going to eventually join the initiative, and don't worry about it? I'm not sure. But we may find out soon. Alright, so how tough are they to please?
You're one of Ambassador Riala's candidates to live on the Nexus.
I am. Glad you finally showed up. Let's get down to it.
Oh?
I've lived my whole life wanting to meet aliens who didn't want me dead. But my family's here. How can I stay in touch with them from the Nexus?
It's up to you. Technology. I mean, that also... I mean, like, yes. That is, to a certain extent, a valid concern, of course. You may want to be physically close to your family, but it's not to say that you can't use technology to communicate with them.
You'll have ways to send them text messages and comm transmissions.
I want contact with the people I love. You offer machines. Not good enough, Pathfinder.
Well, that answers that question. Alright then, we are off to a wonderful, wonderful streak here. Alright, so yes, they can say no, and they will say no, pretty easily at that. It's a kind of a 50-50, as it turns out, and we messed that one up, apparently. Oops. And while we're here, chat with you. Yeah, so I'm... like, one of those things messed up, okay. Multiple of those things messed up, and I'm starting to get pretty concerned.
Do you work on water filtration here?
I designed the system for it.
Can you sell me an ionic filter? My people need it on Eladin.
If they're tough enough for Eladin, they deserve help. Here.
You know, at a price, of course, naturally. Okay, then you're all... oh, wait, what is this one? Ambassador Riala? Oh, this is the Solarian dude who's causing some issues because he's a bad communicator. Yes, this in general, this trip to Aya, it's not exactly been a roaring success thus far. And I am, as I said, not thrilled with how some of these conversations have gone. We do have another thing where we need to speak to PB in here. In fact, I'm surprised that... oh no, she is showing up as one of the people we're supposed to speak to. Okay, just came at this from a different angle. Now, presumably PB is not going to give us that much of a hard time about this, if we could actually speak to her, that is.
Getting acquainted with our new neighbors?
Sort of. All this stuff. The Angara sure do have a rich culture and blah, blah, blah.
It did kind of look like you were stumbling around like you've been drinking.
Are you all right?
I'm fine. It's nothing. I visited that cafe the Angara consider a bar. Asked for their hardest stuff. It was weird, which I like, but had almost no punch.
Sure about that?
Wait. Whoa.
Steady now.
That stuff must have a slow absorption rate. Whoops. Oh, Ryder. It's just... This museum reminds me of being on Haitiana during my indentured service as a student. They even have a whole section on the Remnant. I didn't come to Andromeda to follow in someone else's footsteps.
I mean, sure, they may have some answers, but it's not as if they know everything about the Remnant.
Don't worry, PB. The Angara barely have a foothold. Sure, they live among the ruins, but they haven't seen what we've already seen.
You might have a point there. Bet nobody here has ever outrun an ancient vault purification field, huh?
Nope.
Or spat in that Archon's ugly mug and lived to talk about it? That was nice work, by the way.
Thank you.
You're right. Not sure why, but ever since I packed up my apartment on the Nexus, something's crawled under my skin.
Metaphorically
But
speaking, I
whatever
hope?
it is, I promise, I'll get over it lickety-split.
Good? I mean, the fact that this is using the branching arrows thing implies that the outcome is... There is some significance to choosing one of these things over the other? And now okay. I guess good? I feel like it's really hard to know what the delivery on this is going to be. This feels like there's a very stern... Good?
Be sure you do. You're a handful.
Yeah, like that's
Even
not
sober.
a very nice thing to say.
It's true. By design. Makes people less likely to try to handle me. Think I'll stay in your operation a little while longer.
Okay, but at least that's done, I guess. On hold, wait for PB to learn more about the remnants. I imagine that it's going to eventually become... Oh, except she immediately is ready. Okay, sure. Once we read her email, at least. Okay. There may be other people we're supposed to speak to in here. Yes, there are. Moshai included. Moshai has arranged a secret meeting between you and Axul. Oh, that's the leader of the Rokar? That feels like that's a pretty big deal. But I at least have a sense as to what the Rokar are about and what that conversation might entail. So I at least feel like I am a little more prepared in that sense.
If should have come to me.
Axel,
Oh, he's here in person. I did not realize that.
You almost died.
I did not anticipate that would be
What's
the case,
he
obviously.
doing here?
It's clear that that's the case now.
I asked the Moshai to set up a meeting. I don't want us to be enemies.
Is this true?
Axel, Ryder rescued me from the Ket. He risked his life to...
Sloane Kelly saved Kadara. Look how that went.
We're different. Kadara's a bad example. Also, Kelly is a jerk.
I want to be allies. Equal allies.
You don't even treat your own equally. Isn't that why the Krogan left?
How did you...
I've been watching you. You're invaders just like the Ket, except less cautious.
But also, we're friendly with the Krogan
What
now?
does that mean?
You'll know soon enough. Do not trust them, Chauvin.
Axel... He didn't used to be like this. He was curious, brilliant. But the Ket, even without exaltation, they change us.
So obviously that one looked like it didn't go very well either, although I imagine in this case there may not really be any way to have that work out all that well in the first place, because he's the leader of the rebels who want to kill all Andromeda Initiative people and, by extension, humans. So, you know, it's not as if we were all gonna walk away and give each other a big group hug after that conversation, no matter what option we chose. So, not as concerned about that conversation, but I am a little bit on edge at the moment with regard to all these conversations that it feels like are not really going the way we want them to. This one, I think, is still okay, though.
There's still time to bring him around.
I want to believe that, but his hatred towards aliens...
I'll prove we can be trusted.
I hope so.
Ryder, we just received an emergency recording from EOS.
Oh, no.
Come to the meeting room when you get back to the Tempest.
Uh-oh. Alright, well that sounds like the kind of thing that may very well need to become top priority, because at least the way that Suvi phrased that certainly made it sound like it was very time sensitive. Aya Vault Plans gave us a bunch of research. Remnant data device composed of unidentified exotic mineral alloys, 79%, light-emitting monofilaments, 3%, unknown data storage technology, 18%. This Remnant-created device displays an interactive holographic display plan of Aya's vault. We've definitely not been in this room at all yet. After years of staring at these vault plans, so much of it still remains a mystery. Not that we haven't tried. Still, after what happened, maybe it's best to leave the vault alone now. We've spent so long on Aya striving to learn whatever we can about the Remnant and their amazing constructs. I see our future in these Remnant plans. Call it intuition, scientific intuition if you will, but I've marked it down here for posterity. We'll see what unfolds. I don't know definitively if we're going to be able to come back down here later on, or if this is some place that we can only go to right here, right now, because the door was unlocked specifically for this meeting between the Moshai, Oxul, and Ryder. And then once we leave, we're going to be locked out again. The question isn't how the Ket genetically modify us, but why? If exaltation is their reproductive process, Ket are a model of inefficiency. That's what I said when they first said that that's what they were doing. That makes no sense if that is their only way of reproducing. If they can transform one life form into something so radically different, then surely the Ket must also be capable of creating clones. Wouldn't that provide more satisfactory results, especially for such a xenophobic culture? The goal of incorporating useful genetic material from other species into baseline Ket genetic material doesn't fully explain the level of effort they expend. Exaltation is a lengthy and labor-intensive activity. What I witnessed at the facility didn't feel like mass production. It was almost religious. There's so much about our enemy I need to understand. And it does seem to be the case, because we heard about how there's some kind of selection process. It's not as if the Ket are just capturing any and all Angara and immediately exalting them. There's this whole, now this one is worthy, this one is not worthy. We must get the Moshai. Archon, specifically, must be given the Moshai because she is the most special. I assume you're one of the people that we're supposed to speak to as well? You're one of the people we need to try to get to move to the Nexus, so I'm guessing this is going to be another one. There's a 50-50 chance of just picking the correct answer for what will convince them. Is there anything we can get from this that gives us a hint? Not really. Okay, but we just need to be a little more critical of our options.
Pathfinder, Ambassador Riala didn't think you'd have time for me.
She said you needed to talk before agreeing to live on the Nexus.
This is the opportunity of a lifetime. I'm an anthropologist, but I've only ever studied my own people.
Okay, sounds like a good opportunity then.
I've heard the Nexus is home to multiple species
True.
and cultures. It will be fascinating and possibly dangerous.
No, it's totally safe. It's fine.
Bacteria, viruses, other contaminants. My family worries about me. Are you sure I'll be safe?
So, like, don't say this, basically?
They wouldn't let me on Aya if I was a walking petri dish, would they?
I think.
You aren't taking this seriously.
God!
By my family.
Are you serious? Are you serious? What the heck? I recoiled so significantly that I unplugged my headphones. Are you serious? What the heck? I'm so close to saying, forget about it. I'm going to save scum this and just redo this because that is absurd. It's one thing on the first one where it's like, okay, you know, you could make the case that a reasonable person understanding that, especially because the Angara are supposedly more sensitive and more emotional than other species, so you want to make sure that you're, you know, we had a heart emotional option and we had a more logical option, and so we went for the other one because I don't know, we didn't know if it really mattered. And then the person said no. This one, I deliberately tried to be a little more lighthearted and not negative because the other one was too negative and the person said no. And then this person says, oh no, you're not taking this seriously enough. Well, what the heck am I supposed to do then? I tried to take the serious, straightforward approach last time and failed for that reason. Then I switched it up this time and got punished for doing that. How am I supposed to know in advance in that case which one I'm supposed to do? Was this gonna give me a hint or something? Located millions of light years across the dark... No. From the graceful hand-art parallel core, dozens of unique species coexist, making the Milky Way a cultural and social melting pot. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to save scum and I'm just going to do the correct option because this is ridiculous at this point. To a certain extent, I understand if... No, there's... Honestly, there's almost no defense for it at this point. These are mostly autosaves that are just going to be coming in at every minute. How far back was this? I don't know. I'm gonna randomly pick this one. Yeah. Basically, either, so you were this dude, so it depends. Do we want to get the other guy as well? Because I think that would have to be further back. So it's one thing if you want to have different options, if you want to have it be possible for people to fail, you need to give reasonable ways for the player to understand what the correct and incorrect options would be. You need to give hints or other build-up to give some reason for people to choose the right answer and not just turn it into a random dice roll, 50-50, coin flip, 50-50. Either you win or you lose. Because if it has consequences, if it has ramifications, then you're punishing me for randomly choosing the wrong option when I had no reasonable way of knowing one way or the other. If you were going to do that, then you had to give me additional hints, which I tried to use the previous instance as an indication of what approach we should take this time, and then he mixed it up on me. So it does truly feel random at this point, the logic behind it. So either you do that, or you just don't make it matter. You just say, okay, you can choose whatever option you want, and regardless, the outcome is going to be the same. That's probably, you know, a less nuanced approach, but you can't just try to cut to the chase with no build-up. You need the development, and you skipped out the development part, and it doesn't work if you do that. All right, we're gonna go further back. And we might need to, I might skip through some dialogue because we may, at this point, is this just before the conversation? This is just before the conversation with you. All right, I mean, this is basically exactly where we want to be. Yeah, we could do it for the other guy that we turned the quest in for before at the very beginning when we got here, but I'm not going to subject you to going that far back.
At my age, family is more important than new experiences. I don't regret staying close to home.
Okay, no, this needs to be slightly further back because this is just after the conversation, apparently. Like, if we could, I don't know, can we overhear the person talking to themselves beforehand? If we do that, we learn what it is that they value most and we can use that to influence our decision? Okay, maybe then it works. But not if you're just asking me to, out of thin air, understand what it is that this person does and does not want. It's the same load? The same save that I just reloaded?
At my age...
Yes, okay, so it's the one that is... Hold on. Oh, no, not that. It's this. It's the one we need. I think. It's one further back from the one we just tried to... Okay. So, yeah,
Any luck with Sorvis Len?
Okay, so we already had the conversation with you.
On Aya may be at stake.
You are, I guess, the most recent...
When I have something, I'll let you know.
Significant person that we spoke to.
That's all for now.
I'm here if you need.
Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna skip through some conversations. Like, this is just, to put it bluntly, terrible game design. And that's why I'm taking such issue with it. So you're punishing the player for things that they cannot reasonably control or predict. So it's a coin flip. It's ultimately a coin flip. I don't remember you being here before, but that's the governor. We did speak to the governor before we spoke to the ambassador, so I think we're fine here, unless we have other reason to speak to the other person there, but okay. So yeah, for that reason, I don't feel that bad about saves coming here, because honestly, it's just a, you know, it's a disservice to the player, the way that is designed.
You're one of Ambassador Reala's candidates to live on the Nexus.
I am. Glad you finally showed up. Let's get down to it.
Okay,
I've
let's
lived my
listen
whole
very
life
closely.
wanting to meet aliens who didn't
Wants
want
to
me
meet
dead.
aliens.
But my family's here. How can I stay in touch with them from the Nexus?
He's asking, how can he stay in touch? Like, look at this. This is so open-ended. You're telling me the correct answer. This seems like a very concrete solution. And so obviously we know what or unless there's no correct answer, and it's not a coincidence that we failed on both occasions, maybe that's it. That would honestly make more sense. Because looking at this now, knowing what happened when we chose technology, I had that in mind, listening to what this guy said, and looking at the way this is written right here, saying that's up to you seems really nondescript. And seems like this is doing exactly what happened with the other person that we got accused of, that we got blamed for doing incorrectly, was, oh, you're not taking this seriously enough. I don't know, do whatever you want, man. Does that work? Because this is a very concrete and reasonable solution. And he said no. So honestly, I kind of want this guy to say, no, that doesn't work, even if we do this. Because then that would at least explain what otherwise is completely nonsensical.
You can send messages, talk to them on the comm. We'll even arrange a visit.
You get it.
What the heck?
All right. I'm in.
What the heck? It's almost identical, the description as well. The only difference, only noticeable difference is, we'll even arrange a visit. That is inexcusable. That is horrendous design. Wow. That is egregious. That is terrible.
Do you work on water filtration here?
I designed the system for it.
Can you sell me an ionic filter? My people need it on Eladin.
If they're tough enough for Eladin, they deserve help. Here.
So this is a straightforward, just purchase this thing. This is a different quest, so that's fine. But then we do have the conversation with multiple people in the what's it called? Museum, which here. That may very well be one that I kind of skip through a little bit, because that one is a bit longer, those conversations, and obviously we know what the outcome is at this point. And we could, again, I mean, we could, this one I feel a little bit worse about saves coming this one. Change, or at least changing our answer to these ones, because this is not necessarily one that we, or either of these, are not really ones that we necessarily felt that we did wrong,
Sort of.
per se.
All this stuff. The Angara.
So yes, I am going to skip this because we...
I visited that lightweight.
Steady now.
Just want to get us back to where we were before,
Right.
relatively quickly
They
and
even have a
efficiently.
whole section on the Remnant. I didn't come to Andromeda to follow in someone
The...
that
Nope.
or
Thank you.
but whatever it is, I promise, I'll get over it lickety-split.
Okay, so I don't actually remember if that most recent option is the one that we chose there or not, but not sure this is going to make too much of a difference. Last time we did say good, and as I said, this, I didn't really know if this was kind of a passive-aggressive good, or if that was like a legitimately, oh, good for you kind of thing. And that's kind of, and that is what it did end up being sort of passive-aggressive, which is not what I wanted, and I very much could not tell from this preview. So for that reason, yeah, you know, call the saves going if you want, but I'll switch it up this time.
You're fine, PB. We all need to cut loose once in a while.
That's awfully understanding of you.
Right. Basically...
You're a good egg. Think I'll stay in your operation a little while longer.
Yes, like that may not have any long-term implications, choosing that different option for PB, but yeah, I mean, that's basically my thought process is there's no reasonable way to expect me to have gotten these things right the first time round. I'm gonna deliberately wait here, not talk to this person, see if they say anything to themselves, gives us a hint. No. These are, we checked this museum exhibit, I think we've read both these museum exhibits before. They're completely unrelated, so it's not as if you can get hints from that. So there's no way to know in advance what the correct answer for these things are going to be. And as I said, the correct answer, the logic behind the correct answer is completely reversed.
She said you needed to talk before agreeing to live on the Nexus.
This is the opportunity of a lifetime. I'm an anthropologist, but I've only ever studied my own people.
Only ever studied on people.
I've heard the Nexus is home to multiple species and cultures.
Species. Fascinating, but maybe dangerous.
Bacteria, viruses, other contaminants. My family worries about me.
Diseases.
Are you sure I'll be safe?
She's concerned about safety because of diseases. And so, are you sure you'll be safe? This sort of casual, oh yeah, don't worry about it. That was the correct answer in the previous one. However, this time, apparently we're supposed to take the simple, straightforward, calculated, logical approach, which is exactly what did not work in the previous time. Why? Why? There's no way of knowing. There's no way of knowing. And based on what happened last time, you would assume that's the right answer. Based on how this didn't work last time, I did this option the first time with her, and it didn't work.
We'll take every precaution, but entering an alien environment is always a risk.
I appreciate your honesty, and so will my family. I'll convince them to let me go. Thank you.
She's like, yeah, I appreciate your honesty. The other guy's like, no, I don't want an honest answer. I just want you to butter me up. I guess that's the closest thing you could get. The most sense you could make out of it. Okay. Oh, right. We technically haven't done the Moshai conversation. Okay. Well, we will. That's another one that I might skip through a bit because that is also a bit of an extended conversation.
Efra should have come to me. What's he doing here?
Okay, so this one, again, I feel like this time it's not so much a the game was being dishonest with us type of situation, so I may try to keep this the same as what I did before, to the extent that I remember what I did before, and I don't remember what I did for this one. I think I did this.
I asked the Moshai to set up a meeting. I don't want us...
Axel, he risked...
Sloan Kelly saved Kadara. Look how that went.
Yeah, we said I'm different, I'm pretty sure.
I want to be allies.
I've been...
What does that mean?
You'll do not trust them, Chauvin.
Axel... He didn't used to be like this. He was curious.
Okay.
But the Ket, even without
this might matter, saying there's hope. So I imagine
there's still time to bring him around.
That there will be
that, but
potential differing outcomes there.
I'll prove we can be trusted.
I hope so.
Where we can either make peace or not with the Rokar, his group of rebels. That does seem like a high priority mission that we're going to need to do pretty soon after getting over here, or getting back to the Tempest. We've read those, I mean, I'll examine the data pads that we've already read, just in case for some reason it is important that we've pressed those buttons, but obviously we know what they say at this point. Okay, so we've now done all of that stuff. We've not yet spoken to this Sorvis Len person. This is the person who was causing some issues that the ambassador was speaking to us about. We should probably save before this conversation, because at this point, I don't trust anything. Yeah, here you are.
I can't work under these conditions. What does it take to be left alone?
Alright, I mean, this is probably another 50-50. Who knows? Please relax.
Ambassador Riala sent me to check on you. You reported that someone in the Resistance threatened you. Tell me exactly what happened.
I didn't know Riala was sending the Pathfinder. I deserve no less, of course.
Of course.
I was measuring the photonic dispersal from the canopies when some random brute interrupted me. I asked him to move, and he got nasty. Said it was my fault his friend was dead. Ridiculous.
Okay, what else did he say?
Do you know what he meant by that?
He ranted nonsense about a vessel and selling slots to outsiders. He got right up in my face and compared me to a cat. He wanted to kill me. I could see it in his eyes. The whole conversation made no sense. I think he was inebriated.
Oh. Okay.
Sounds like there's more to this. Don't suppose you caught his name?
Didn't ask, didn't want it, didn't need it. When he left, I tagged him with infrared dye from my sample kit.
Oh, of course, as one does.
Naked eye, but not to a scanner.
I'll scan people around the Resistance headquarters. See if I find him.
Totally reasonable thing to
You're
do.
supposed to represent our interests on Aya. Go, represent. I have work to do.
Okay. Who do we speak to next? You are the last person who we need to convince, which is... I will definitely save before speaking to you, because you are definitely going to be another dice roll. How illogical is this one going to be?
The Moshai said we should speak. You remember the Ket's arrival.
One of them came to our city on a vow to offer lavish gifts.
Offer gifts?
We lined up along the street to watch the alien walk with our ambassador. As it passed, it stopped and knelt in front of me. I still dream of what it said.
Dream what he said?
Young one, you are meant for greatness.
You're meant for greatness. So did he trick your people? Is he a cat? So you shouldn't have trusted him to begin with? Or no wonder I have no idea. Who knows? I mean, I would probably go for this. It's the cold hard facts. Can this guy handle the truth? I don't know. There's no way of knowing.
The Cat lured your people into a false friendship.
That seems like a reasonable response.
A month later, our council disappeared. Our city was thrown into chaos. When the Ket came again, it was to conquer us at our weakest. They're cunning. They know what you desire and they offer it. Be careful.
Oh no, this is not... Wait, no. Is that one of the guys who's trying to join, or is that just one of the guys who gives us foreshadowing? This is just one of the guys who gives us foreshadowing. Okay, right? That's different. That is different. You're the last person we need to talk about moving on to the Nexus. Okay. So you're the other person warning us. You're saying they will promise you gifts, but they will deceive you. They will trick you. So, I mean, the thing is, like, yes, those are things we should probably try to remember. On the other hand, all the things that you said have been pretty generic. They'll try to divide you. They'll try to trick you. They'll try to send you false signals, false warnings. Don't trust anything that they say. Okay, you know, I probably would have gone with that approach anyway when it comes to facing our enemies. So, not really sure that changes too much. And I'm hoping even if I forget the details there, that, that just general logic will win out. A general assumption will win out. Did I go to the place that I wanted to go to? Theoretically, yes. I think you're down below or something, because there is another floor here somewhere. But not here.
I'm sorry. They're using a different encryption on this message. I can't make anything of it.
Then set it aside and go back to the other badge I gave you.
Yes,
Although this is Ephra, who's important, so maybe we chat with him just to see if he happens to have anything else to say to us.
Pathfinder, Next time you're on Kadara Port, I need a favor.
Because you might have a quest to give us?
The contact who helped us find Venturev hasn't checked in. He's overdue.
Don't know when I'll be there next, but I can look him up.
If he doesn't have a good excuse, he's fired. What do you need?
Okay,
I'll let you get back to it.
Good.
Okay. It's down below. We need to buy medical supplies from someone.
Oh. No entering the med center until you're clean.
Oh, sorry. Better. You.
My people on Kadara are fighting a bacterial infection. Do you have antibiotics?
Of course. Will this do?
Yes, just generic antibiotics with no other specifics mentioned at all. That will definitely work. That's totally the way that we do this medicine thing, right? You know, scene one, antibiotics, seen them all, right? Okay, scan resistance members over here. You.
I detect the infrared dye Sorvis Len used to mark the person who threatened him.
That's our man.
Alright, so that dude was causing some issues.
You're back.
While we're here... We seen this before? This weapon? I don't know what that is. Also, I do like generic pistol damage on the mod slot, but not sure that we necessarily need to go out of our way to purchase it here. Alright, let's chat with this guy.
I know why you're here. The botanist. You want an apology for what I said to him.
I feel like we have to be here to listen.
I only have one side of the story. Tell me yours.
It's hard to explain.
Try me.
Aya isn't big enough to give everyone a home. We each live here a short time and then move on. For someone to come, another must go. The exchanges are chosen at random. We call this arrangement the Vassal. Time of change. It worked well. Until now.
We upset the balance. It does seem that way.
The Vassal never accounted for outsiders living on Aya.
There's only so much room. When our leaders agreed to make a place for your people here, it came with a cost. My friend won a place on Aya, but he sold that slot so one of you could stay here instead.
Sold it how? What did he get?
Comforts for his family, resources to improve their home on Haval. He always put others before himself. That's how he died, fighting Ket on Vold. When I found out, I was angry. Said things to your botanist I shouldn't have, but I'd never hurt your people.
Okay. Maybe we can still make this right.
He thinks you want him dead. Tell him what you just told me, and let's move on.
Thought I was clear the first time. Maybe his translator malfunctioned.
I'll talk to our ambassador. See if we can minimize our impact on your Vassal.
We don't expect things to be easy. Only that you understand, nothing is free for us.
Alright, now that, comparatively speaking, much more logical, much more straightforward. Alright, tense situation, let's do what we can to defuse it. Much more reasonable. Is that the way out? No, this is the way out. Are we trying to get out? Yes, we are trying to get out. In fact, at this point... can fast travel here? Not really sure if Aya is big enough to ever warrant the loading screen. If you ought to just run, but alas. And yeah, over there. Okay, Ambassador.
Govajon, Pathfinder. I've been practicing the language. Any news on what happened to Sorvis Len?
Do you know about the Vassal? The Angaran lottery that decides who gets to live on Aya?
I've heard of it. Why?
Angar are selling their slots to come here, so our people can stay in their place. Including a member of the Angaran resistance. He was killed on Vold. Wouldn't have happened if he'd been here.
No one told me of this arrangement. Oh, we have to do something.
Let's see. You'll figure it out now. Talk to the Angara. We could pay instead. Make a room back home? Not entirely, like the Nexus? Is that what you mean?
We could let Angara who give up their slots live on the Nexus. It's safer than Vold.
Exactly what I was thinking. No one should suffer on our behalf. Thank you, Pathfinder. I'll forward your proposal to Director Tan immediately.
Okay, that seems like
That's all for now.
Best outcome
I'm
there.
here if you need anything.
Okay. Now, I think we're just trying to convince the last person who's considering joining the Nexus. This is the one that's the crazy coin flip, and then just turning in all the stuff that we purchased from the various people here to this Turian supplier dude that we saw at the beginning. Then I think we're pretty much good. So again, I mean, is it worth? Sure, we'll fast travel. Okay, so this is going to be the annoying person. Which one are they? Are... Oh. Not here. They are... you. Save. Alright. We'll see if we can figure out which one it's gonna be this time. Is it gonna be a random guess, or is there actually any logic to it at all? Only one way to find out. Also, can we speak to you? There we go.
Ambassador Riala said you're thinking of moving to the Nexus.
Pathfinder. I'm honored even to be considered for the transfer.
But
I won't be happy as just an observer. I need to work.
Okay, he needs to work. He's an engineer.
Will I be allowed employment alongside your people?
Okay, so you would think he's really concerned about employment. He wants to continue to be an engineer on the Nexus. We could say, absolutely, of course. Also, he's fixing air. There is that too. Also, if you work on power, why are you... I mean, that's not really what you'd be messing with a ship, which I'm pretty sure is what this is, although it's hard to tell from this angle, rather than a generator or something like that, which would much more likely be the... or transmission and distribution wires. But no, that's not what you're doing right now. But anyways, so this, you would think, would probably be the most logical thing to say, oh yeah, don't worry about it. I'm sure you can find a way to get employment. And engineers are in high demand, right? Or we could... like, that is more reassuring. This is perhaps more realistic, saying, well, I mean, yeah, hopefully you have a valuable set of skills that would make you employable on the Nexus, but I can't guarantee that. It's up to them. So, it's pretty similar to the other ones, in that it's basically the butter them up versus the cold hard facts. And for one person, this worked, for the other person, this worked. And there's no way of knowing definitively which one should be the case. This guy, I mean, this guy seems to be kind of calculated. He's an engineer, so maybe we do go this route, even though my initial thought was that, I don't know.
If you put in a request, someone will get back to you.
And if they refuse? We'll have to think about it. Thank you, Pathfinder.
I honestly don't know. What was that? Was that good? Was that not good? I don't know. He didn't say no. So, I mean, now I'm kind of curious to see what happens if we do it the other way. My guess is that that's the best possible outcome, the one that we just got. Because he didn't outright refuse, which is what happened for the other people when we messed those up. So I think I'm gonna act on the assumption that that is the right choice. I think. Then we turn in all the stuff to the Turian dude, because we picked up a lot of things for you.
I found Kiloa seeds for Eos.
Oh, don't tell me we need to do this individually for all of them.
It's perfect. I'll make sure Eos gets them.
We do have to do this individually for all of them. They're each worth 2%. I mean, sure, but that's painful.
Here, I have the antibiotics.
And they're 270 experience
Will
apiece,
settlers be okay?
which
Once they have
is a pretty easy experience,
I'll make
but...
sure they know who to thank.
Okay.
Here, I found
Lovely.
the solar amplifier for Vold.
They'll be happy to see this. No more power outages. Thank you, Pathfinder.
Actually, yeah, you would need energy storage to prevent power outages, but okay.
I managed to find an ionic filter for Eladin. Make sure they get it.
I'll get this delivered right away. They'll be relieved to have enough water.
Is this gonna be enough for us to level up Andromeda? No, I don't. Oh, especially because that was the last one, so no. No, it will not be. And yeah, it's not as if that's about to be enough for us to level up our character either. So yeah, I think I want to say that that was the right answer for that last Angara dude who was thinking about joining the Nexus, but I don't know. Just because the negative ones in the past were a lot more negative than that. In which case, I think we're just about done here on Ayek. Whoa, my god, did you just see that? I paused. So I kind of cut it short, but this person was roller skating, or ice skating from here to here. That was a little bit alarming. How do we get back onto the Tempest? From here should work, right? Yes. So yeah, that quest in particular, the one with the whole, not sure if the Angara people want to live on the Nexus or not, that was really bad. The other ones, varying, but some of them were not great either. Okay, deliver.
She wanted to talk to you.
We deliver ionic filter to Marixus? Wait, do we need to... All those things that we just purchased on Aya, do we actually need to go to all the... Not only do we need to turn them in, we actually need to go to each individual outpost to actually fully redeem... We have to redeem them all twice? Is that what you mean? Also, was it a conversation we were supposed to have here?
VidCon channels already, Pathfinder.
Yes. Okay, this was for... This was not Axul. Was it? Which one was this for? I already forget. Which is not good. That feels like that is probably not a good thing. No, it's not that. Not any of those. No. We should do that. But... Stress call. Suvi has 4... Oh, it was in response to... Or likely because of Axul causing some kind of trouble after we tried to be diplomatic, but he very clearly wasn't.
Suvi played
on Eos, there was some kind of issue. Yeah.
Right away.
This is the initiative outpost Prodromos on Eos. We're in need of assistance. Tempest, this one is for you. We've got hostiles inbound. No ground activity, but there soon will be. Pathfinder, we need you. Going dark until it's resolved. We're not giving up Eos again. Out.
Alright, that is kind of vague.
Could use more information than just hostiles and the worry of escalation.
Could be he's worried it's not a simple attack. If someone's willing to risk attacking Prodromos, your first outpost...
They're trying to make a point.
Yeah, seems like the kind of thing that Axul and the Rokar would try to do. Also, just acknowledging the fact that, obviously, we're going to do this because we're the protagonists, but from a theological standpoint, our primary job is an explorer and a colonizer, not... I mean, yes, that does come with some combat aspects to it, of course, but we are not a private. No, we are not the official military, and this is absolutely something that they should be asking the strike teams. This is like exactly what a strike team's mission would, or just generally speaking, the actual military, which we are not a part of. So asking the head explorer to do this is not something that would realistically make any sense. I mean, maybe as backup, as like the back line, but we are not the people you should be relying on for this.
That's the last we heard? Nothing else?
No Ryder, but also no alarms. The orbital buoy isn't showing any major traffic. Bradley's military, all about the prep. I bet it's a brownout to present less of a target.
Keep the nav fresh. I'll be on the bridge soon.
Understood.
Okay. On the other hand, we did also just hear about the cats supposedly giving false distress signals and what have you to send people going in the wrong direction to mess with them, when in truth those were all just traps. So, is that actually the cat behind it? The fact that we got word of this immediately after talking to Oxul makes me think that no, it's probably the Rokar. So we probably do just take it at face value, but still, it was quite recent that we caught word of that being a specific cat tactic. Yeah, these are all currently, I'm sure we'll cash in that one thing. Okay, so yeah, I mean, we probably just take that at face value, but the game, or at least it seems like we should be prioritizing that pretty highly, because it seems as though it is very time sensitive. There are a bunch of other things that we want to do on EOS, including the main quest, which is eventually going to take us back over there. So I would have ideally liked to have waited a little bit, done other things first, and then done a whole bunch of EOS stuff simultaneously. This may kind of be forcing us to go back to EOS a little bit earlier than I would have liked to, but we might have to weigh whether we can afford to stop off somewhere else first, and I think we might have had a few other quests that we wanted to at least quickly cash in on other locations, including the main quest intermediary stage, where it's supposedly just a quick conversation before we are going to be sent to EOS, or do we quite literally have to drop everything to go to EOS right now, otherwise something bad is going to happen? I'm not sure.